9, please join us for the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag, United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all.
Good morning. First order is approve the minutes of Tuesday, May 31st.
So moved, Mr. Chairman.
Don's moved.
All second.
Tim second. Any further discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next is miscellaneous motions. Upon the recommendation of Coffee County Economic Development Director, move to approve and direct the chairman to approve a revision and addition to the Coffee County Economic Development Department's position and chart, classification chart, for an addition of 2 interns for the duration of the summer. You guys can see the organizational chart.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes, sir.
I'd like to ask these 2 interns to get up and introduce themselves. Before they do, I'd like to talk about a little bit about what they're doing. So they are, as Wade mentioned last week, with talking about the effort we put into trying to groom our people who may one day come back and live here and be part of our communities as they're starting their life out. Ms. Miranda Meeks and Ms. Klubeck are interning for the summer. They're doing things like working on contracts, negotiating over the phone with people, different small matters. This morning they're going to actually incorporate a company. Those are things that a lot of people don't do or have an opportunity to do, but I think they've been working for a week or 2 and they're really doing well. And girls, if y'all wouldn't mind, come up here and say hello to the commissioners. Introduce yourselves again.
My name is Miranda Meeks, and I went for this job just because I want to get involved in the community. And I'll be attending KU this fall on a pre-pharmacy track to try to get into pharmacy school.
My name is McKenna Klubeck, and I will also be attending KU next year, but I want to go into pre-dental.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank
you. Nice to meet you.
I have a question. Why have they been working 2 weeks? Or are we just getting this today?
I did contract labor for 2 weeks.
Okay.
And anticipated on going further, but prior to converting, if they cross the financial threshold, bring it to your attention, so you may add them as formally as interns.
Well, I think it's a good opportunity for young kids to come in and learn what actually goes on, in your department, other departments. It gives them experience in real life, and maybe one of these days they'll come back and be a part of the county instead of moving away and never returning,
Yes,
other than
sir.
to see family.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Sorry.
Is this 40 hours a week, or what is this?
They're both receiving about 20 hours a week.
20 hours. 20 hours
Yes,
a
sir.
week? Okay. All right.
Tim's moved, Don seconded. Any further discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Thank
Congratulations.
you, Commissioner.
Welcome, young ladies.
Thank you.
You ladies can-
I can sign
Now
it.
it's time to go to work.
Yeah. Yep. Okay, what do we got left? SOS Director, Connie, come on up.
Good morning, I'm Connie with SOS. I've been here, but it's been a couple of years maybe since I've been here. How many copies do you need for the commissioners?
I don't have any copies, so they haven't seen it.
So, 5, do you need 6 for your office? I mean, to make sure we have.
We need one of those for the clerk.
Yeah,
Okay.
Angie
They
wants
have to
on
have
it.
that.
Okay, I've got extra for Angie, so. Here we go. And then we'll
Take
send those
another
around
shuffle
too.
around.
Okay, I just wanna make sure that the number by 6
Our request is gonna be the same as last year, and I think we've had that same for several years, so that's basically what our request will be. We are a nonprofit that serves victims of domestic violence, sexual assault, child abuse, and neglect. We also serve human trafficking victims as well as stalking victims. The first I was job shadowing staff, and the first case I ever went on was with a gentleman that was probably 6'4", and he was built very nicely, and he was there for stalking. And I'm looking at this guy, I'm thinking, surely this can't be the person who's needing protection. And he continues to talk to my staff and thank them repeatedly for helping him get a protection from stalking order. He was fearful of his life, and he looked like he could quite take care of himself, but he was very fearful. So we serve men, women, children, transgenders. We serve everyone that walks in our doors, regardless, with no discrimination, basically. So we want to just make sure that we welcome everyone. We're really excited that Nicole has a new office, and so I'll let her introduce herself here in just a moment. She's our victim advocate here in town. But we are also excited not only to have Nicole, but we've just received a grant that will allow us to have our Child Advocacy Center back over here, have our satellite office over here. The county has helped us with that, I think, for years, or maybe it was through the law enforcement, through county attorney's office. I'm not sure exactly. We had a free place to do those interviews, and then I think maybe it was the city, and then they sold that building to the school district, and then we had to move all of our equipment out, and we've had to then take everybody from Coffee County over to Linden, or over to Emporia to do those services. So we're able to bring that back here pretty quickly. We've ordered some new equipment, we have some new furniture that we're going to get, and we're going to get that move made, and we are just right across the street, which is that way?
Yes.
So right there, I guess.
That metal building?
Yes.
Yes, so we're right there, so we're right across, so Nicole can walk across and serve victims. So, Nicole, you want to tell us a little bit about what you do?
I am Nicole Fry. I am the Coffee County Coordinator Advocate down here, and like Connie said, we work with a variety of things from domestic violence to stalking, human trafficking, elder abuse. I did just relocate over here to the metal building in January, which has been a blessing because the victims and stuff that I do work with feel a lot more safe over there than our previous office down on Main Street. And having the accessibility to the courts has been just a lot easier transition. If I have questions, I can go talk to the clerks. If there's a change in the schedule, Nicole, can you get your victim, get the victim here so we can do hearing? It's been wonderful. And one of the greatest things that's happened since the beginning of the year is between our agency and working with ECAN, we are actually able to help a victim of domestic violence get to her own home and start a new life, which has been fantastic.
So before you, we have the request letter, our budget, our full budget, the budget for you all, and then what we've done in this county.
How many counties do you currently serve?
5.
5.
Yes.
The services that you talked about, is there any connection between you and the 4th Judicial System? Because they're working with similar people like you are.
Probably us.
Is there any coordination there between the two?
I work I work with Judge Bashirs and Judge Wine. There's times that I will work with Janine, the victim coordinator, victim advocate, for the DA's office as well. We don't share information, but unless we have like a release or anything like that, but her and I trade trainings and stuff like that back and forth together, because she's also new as a victim advocate.
Because you're working with domestic people, they are too.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know whether there was any connection.
So what counties would that be?
Well,
Osage.
yeah, Osage,
Okay.
Anderson, Coffee. Because I think there's 5 counties in that too.
Okay.
But I'm not sure Lyon County's one.
So Osage is the county that we do
Yeah.
serve the majority in. We do have some sister agencies that do some of those other counties. We all belong to the Kansas Coalition Against Sexual and Domestic Violence, and you have to be accredited to be able to serve victims like we do. And so they are part of, I'm sure that the sister agency is as well. I'm not sure if that comes out of, I'm not sure which county serves, which program serves which county there. So, yes, we do serve 5, but ours are Osage, Coffee, Lyon, Chase, and Morris.
So there are 2 different counties.
Yes, yeah. So do you have questions for us? You got a copy for you, do you? Thank you.
How much time do you spend here in Coffee County?
I live here.
Okay, I'd answer that.
I live here,
So you're currently in the office 40 hours a week, or give or take some?
Yeah,
Okay.
give or take. There's sometimes I'll have to go to Emporia for training, but I am usually at the office every day, Monday through Friday.
No, our Child Advocacy Center will not be manned 100% of the time. When our satellite office will be doing it on demand, basically. And law enforcement's out here, so, when we work with them very diligently on those cases, and so we'll come over when we need to do those cases and do those interviews with those children who've been sexually assaulted or abused.
Well, it's a very necessary service in the county and throughout the other counties in the world that we're living in today, to have what we call a safe haven
Yes,
for people.
yes. I don't know what victims would do without our services. We've truly, there was one of our clients that said to me, I would give my advocate a kidney if necessary. She saved my life.
Mm-hmm.
And so I hear that more often than I would like to, sadly. We'd love to be out of business.
It's getting more and more.
It's getting worse. Our numbers aren't as high as they were a few years ago, but the severity of the
Just worse.
Advocates, yeah.
Yeah.
So I was gonna ask about the trafficking. Have you seen a rise in that too? Most places have.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes, absolutely. Sad, isn't it? I mean, who thought in this day and age we'd be having human trafficking? We are. But it's a product that can be, used over and over and over again. Whereas drugs, it's a one-time sale.
Mhm.
It's terrible.
We wanna put it on the floor for vote,
What we usually
or
do,
just wait?
we wait until we do our
And
budget,
do-
and then
okay.
we go through them all,
Okay.
and
Okay.
they present and we'll.
Okay.
Thank you
Very
so
well.
much.
Thank you,
everyone.
ladies.
Appreciate it.
Keep up the good work.
Thank you.
Tom's out in the hall.
And so,
Mr. Johnson, morning, Joe.
Good morning, Jess.
I see they're doing construction on 35 east of Waverly, so the road will get smoother going home eventually.
Sure. You guarantee that?
I'm not gonna guarantee anything, but
You might as well have Wade's chair, Mr. Johnson.
I don't know about that.
Mr. Tom, we're at you, sir.
Well, sir, it's gonna be pretty simple. Joe?
Yes, absolutely. Kurt's here also, so, good
Didn't take
morning.
long for him, fast buck.
No, the county clerk just raised an issue with me that I actually agree with the county clerk's office, but, for consideration, this is the jail financing, and this is a resolution for your consideration. However, the statute itself says you can't, if everything's in compliance and it's approved, then you actually have to hold an election within 45 days. So we want to hold this consideration until the 20th, until the meeting on the 20th for approval, so that we comply strictly with the statute. What we could do is, and I don't really advocate for this, but we could hold it, you could approve it today and not deliver it to the county clerk's office until the 20th or sometime before, right around the 20th. But I think honestly it would be best if we take this for consideration on the 20th. It will give you opportunity to review the ballot language. But in short, it's a resolution calling the election for the jail financing and improvements to this courthouse. The resolution itself provides, you know, the language, the statutory language that is required, the authority itself. It's the issuance of bonds in the amount of $20 million, not to exceed $20 million, it's going to be $20 million. And the balance itself will be paid from the general funds from the county. So right now it's contemplated to a not to exceed amount of $30 million for the all-in financing costs, of which $20 million will be debt financed through the issuance of general obligation bonds. We had a conversation as to what general obligation bonds actually are. So I want to make certain it's clear that the pledge itself, the debt service to pay back the bonds, is articulated. Initially there's going to be revenue from the facility, whether we are able to house federal inmates or not, or other county inmates. That's the revenue from the facility. Plus, we're going to be able to use the general fund, the surplus in the general fund. The question that has come up that was an interesting topic of discussion, which was Friday, was what about, will we ever have to raise taxes? And generally the answer is no, you're not going to raise taxes. It's not anticipated that you're going to raise taxes. However, general obligation bond, by definition, requires the full faith and credit of the county. So we do not anticipate, I can't make it more clear, that we do not anticipate that there's going to be a tax increase to pay for the facility. However, general obligation bonds, by definition, make it that if everything goes, if it's a doomsday approach that we've been talking about, the doomsday approach, if there's, let's say Wolf Creek shuts down, then there is the ability for the county to raise taxes. If the county does not do so, then they effectively would be in default. Sheriff has been out talking to, I think it was last Thursday, was the first town hall meeting. I think last Monday, or was it Tuesday, the ad hoc committee came in and visited about it. I think the thought is everybody feels comfortable with this process, that the lead pledge is the revenue, the surplus in the general fund is the secondary, and if something goes crazy, which we do not anticipate, in the next, say, 10 years or 20 years is what it is, but we could call those bonds early, that you may have to raise taxes, but quite honestly, it's highly unlikely. So I'm happy to answer any questions. The reason why we have to hold this for consideration until the 20th is because the statute provides that the election shall be held within 45 days after compliance with all necessary requirements. As I mentioned early on, we could hold it and not deliver it to the county clerk, but I think procedurally it'd be better if we just approve this on the 20th. We do have to file a notice of election, which gives all the details. We have to publish that notice of election. It gives more of the details than just the proposition itself. But I think it would be best to do that on the 20th as opposed to today. So I'm happy to answer any questions.
So we don't do, let me get my wording correctly. It was my understanding that we needed to approve the verbiage of what's going to be on the ballot. Is that what you're saying, that we can't approve until the 20th?
Yeah, well, you could approve it, you could review it, but we don't want to deliver it to the county clerk. So quite honestly,
basically can't do anything.
Well, I think you want to look at the language, and if you don't mind, I may read it for you to consider, and it's in public record. But then you can ponder it and see if there's any modifications that you desire.
Because there was a great deal of modification Friday from what we seen last Tuesday.
Yes, yes. So here's the proposition, the language itself. Shall Coffee County issue general obligation bonds in an amount not to exceed $20 million to pay a portion of the approximately $30 million cost of constructing and equipping a facility on a site owned by the county to be used as a jail to house up to 92 inmates, a sheriff's office, and a prosecutor's office, and including limited renovations to the court area within the existing courthouse and construction of a secured enclosed link between the new facility and the existing county courthouse, together with all things necessary and incidental thereto pursuant to the statutory provisions which include KSA 10-101 et sec and KSA 19-15-144 et sec, with the balance of the cost of such a facility to be paid from other available funds from the county. So that's the language itself. Hopefully, I mean, from an election standpoint, we want to make it transparent. We want to make it as concise as possible, which is difficult. You know, it's difficult because we want to make it clear that this is what you're voting on, but we also want to make it concise that there are, let's say, we put something in there that it's located on the south side of the, well, it's not going to be, but located on the south side, and they don't want it on the south side. They want it on the west side, so they could not vote for it. So we don't want to be too specific. We have to be absolutely what is necessary. We call the minimal approach, but as much as we possibly can to make it as clear as for the voters to approve, or at least understand what they're voting on.
The only thing I think on that is it should be 96 instead of 92.
It's 92.
It's 92? Is it really?
Yeah.
We did all the math, and Serrano, or Joe, and Goldberg, and said it's 92.
Oh, okay.
92.
92.
Yeah, that came up Friday too, and
Okay.
I Zoom meeting too, and it's like, I thought it was 96.
I thought it was 96 too.
Somebody's math was off last week.
I need to make sure we got clarification on that.
Somebody's math was off.
Probably mine. I think it went from 60.
Well, no, it was presented to us, I think I still have it as 92, and somebody did the math and said, no, it should be 96, so
Yeah.
we all looked at it, and luckily we didn't have to approve anything last week.
Right. I think it was 60 beds with two 16-bed pods. So
I think we thought it was 18.
yeah.
We thought it
That's
was
where-
18
that's
beds
where-
Yeah.
per
Okay.
pod, so that's what gave us the 96.
Yeah.
That's
So
the
it's
math off.
it's 92. I mean, we've gone through that number because I've heard 90 to 96. So so I'm happy to answer any questions. I would request that we table this until the 20th of visiting with the county clerk. One issue that we have is to make certain we get the mail ballots out to, I think, one serviceman that may be over or somebody's overseas. We can do that visiting with Brad in the county clerk's office. They may have a submittal on the 17th for the other propositions and then mail this out afterwards to comply with the statute. So that's more than you need or probably want to know, but that's why I would request that we table this into the June 20th meeting. We will have time to comply with the 45 days period. So
The bonds, Joe, are starting, they're 20-year bonds, correct?
they are.
Early pay, if the funds are available, is 10.
We can structure it as early. We call early call. You were at the Commissioner. You were at the meeting. We call it early call. You can structure it in a way that you can call those bonds early if they're available funds. The issue that we have to deal with is what the bond investors actually want. They want some certainty for a period of time. So we typically say for our tax guys, say, put it 10.5 years. If you want to put it at, say, 8 years, there may be an uptick, an early call provision, there may be an uptick in your interest rates.
That's the question I was going to ask, you know. Should the county have the funding, why continue to pay the interest if you can service it early? And I was interested what your answer might be if you go to 7 or 8. I'm not saying there's a magic year.
Yeah, you can do that. It's going to be an uptick in your interest rate. And understanding that the interest rate is now increasing, there's probably going to be another 50 basis points. But we're trying to squeeze this into a tax-exempt financing. I don't know if we can do so as of yet. We have to look at we have our tax group that's looking at this. If we can squeeze this into a tax-exempt financing, then we would do so. So it'll save a little bit, which if we have an early call may be equal to the taxable financing versus tax-exempt financing. But yeah, we could try to get an early call and understanding that we would want to, but bond investors, those that buy these bonds, want some certainty. A lot of times these are placed with pension funds, so they want a certainty as to how much they are going to actually be earning off of that interest.
And you said an uptick in interest at 1/10%?
It all depends. It all
Depends.
it depends.
I know that's a deal.
Yeah, it could be a quarter, it could be 25 basis points, something like that. Yeah.
They're gonna get their money one way or the other.
That's exactly right. If you're paying it early, you're paying it on the backside.
But if
That's
the
right.
funding is available, why pay it out 12 years when you can fund it? The quarter might be cheap.
Yeah, yeah. And understanding that in right now, in today's market, we want to do whatever is best for the county and structure it in a way that minimizes the charges that are available,
Yeah.
the interest costs, if you will. And we will analyze it as best we possibly can. Understand that, let's say it's $10 million that's coming in, and I don't want to get into the details too much as to the tax exempt versus taxable, but real quickly, you have what we call bad use, which is 10% can be used for federal inmates. It's bad use unfortunately, the federal government is considered private business use. But you have 10% of the use of that facility. So we have that, plus we have the contribution of the county. So that $10 million, $9 million, whatever it is. That will go into, that's kind of our cushion. So on a quick down and dirty approach, it's about 40% of that use of the facility could be used by federal government, and we could still get into tax-exempt financing. Don't hold me to those 40% numbers, because I have to get my guys involved, look at guys out, my tax guys, but that's kind of the analysis. So if we can get it into a tax-exempt financing, we will do so. We have to work with the sheriff's office and when he's dealing with the marshal's office to have some certainty as to, because I'm sorry to tell you, this is a reasonable expectation at the time that these bonds are issued will dictate whether or not these are taxable or tax exempt. So, again, we have to overcome the election. First thing is to overcome the election. I'm probably taking too much of your time, but we overcome the election, and then we will work towards getting, hopefully this will be a valid proposition, a past proposition, and then we'll talk about the financing and stuff. So, questions?
I was sitting down in a meeting with you there Friday. So.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that, by the way. Yeah.
Friday was a funny day.
Sure was. Anything? Well, thanks for your time. Yeah, and I don't know, I'll try to be back on the 20th. I'm coming back next week, but if there's anything, if you have comments to the language, I think we vetted this with the county attorney. But if there's any modifications, please let us know. I think it's as concise as we possibly can make it.
So the county attorney has a copy of that, so we can all get a copy so that we can all digest.
If not, I have it, and I'll forward it to Andrew and Zach.
That'd be great.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you, Joe.
Now gonna have 2 minutes?
Yes, sir.
So,
What time?
You're on the clock.
yeah, but believe me, this won't take too long. So, just to let you know, we have some leaks down at our annex, water running through the roof. We had some road and bridge guys and one of my guys that have some construction knowledge get up on top of the roof. The old ridge cap that's on this roof, and this is a floating roof, basically, metal roof, the building's totally metal. The ridge cap that's up on there has separated from the metal sheeting. It wasn't the best construction, just type of construction that this is done. That ridge cap needs to be replaced. Where the water, once we get up there, that's what we found. Where the water's leaking at is some vents. Some boots need to be replaced on some vents. Some of the screws, of course, this roof, due to the wind and everything else moves, screws need to be replaced. The screws have worked themselves out. And some of the vents up there need to be replaced themselves. The boots too, but the vents too. So the water is running down through some of the vents. And of course, there's insulation, from the inside you look up and see the insulation. So there's big bulges in there where the water has ran down through the vents, held in the insulation. Barb cut one of the pieces of insulation. Water has ran down. It hasn't damaged anything. We've got where it's at, it's just falling on concrete. But some of that insulation is going to be fixed too. We talked to Andrea. We've got a contractor coming in that does roofing that's going to give us an estimate on it, but it's going to have to be replaced. Some of that stuff's got to be replaced. It's got to be fixed. It's going to have some recaulking done on it. so we don't have some expensive stuff damaged in our annex. So just want to let you know it's coming. We'll get an estimate to you whenever that comes in, but just want you to know it's coming.
Those screws have washers underneath them?
I think they're the old rubber washer screws
Probably
that,
need to be replaced.
again, they've said all that up there needs to be replaced, screws need to be replaced, so it's coming. We'll get an estimate on it, I forgot what roofing company they talked to, but anyway, it's just gotta be done, that's all there's to it. So if that's all it costs is to replace the ridge cap and replace some screws and put some new boots and vents in, we need to get it done. So, other than that, that's my 2 minutes.
Okay.
Thank you, gentlemen.
Thank you.
See y'all later.
Have a good week.
So, we're going downstairs, you wanna come with us, or? Yeah. Okay. Thanks, folks. Yep, see you.
I cleared the room quite quick.
Yeah.
Yeah, everybody took them all out. That's not faking.
Joe's been doing a good job on this, so.
Yes, he has. Extension. Daryl's not here yet.
He's out there somewhere.
Yeah, poke your head out there and see if he's out there. I guess if he's not here, we could do this, economic development bid. Open bids for the, restaurant, Mary Bell Cakes. He said we don't have to award anything, we just have to open them. Is that what we wanna do for?
You're in charge.
Do something to get out of the way.
Bidder number 1, no name. Bidder number 1, I believe the grand total is $86,596.19. Bidder number 1.
And would you repeat that number again?
$86,596.19. Do we need to state names, who it is?
I don't know.
Not
You
sure.
call bidder
Well,
one,
not
or
for
time
three
being, let's
either.
just call bidder 1, 2, 3,
Okay,
or whatever it
gotcha.
is.
I think it's best to keep it 1 or 2 or 3 hours, maybe,
No. Since it's a public document, so.
Bidder number 2. Bidder number 2, if I read this correctly, is $96,500. Bidder number 2 did also include insurance information. Work comp. General liability. Okay. Did I give you a number? I did, didn't I? 96.5?
I would suggest we get a little to Wayne and have him look them over and see, make sure the detail is correct.
Okay.
And they are legit bids, so.
I'm just looking in here to see if it states that it must include in the documents.
It doesn't,
It doesn't.
does not.
But it does state that they must have work comp and general liability.
Yes.
Just that it didn't have to be included.
Actually, it just says they'll have to produce it, it doesn't say it has to be included in the bid. But it does state that to state time.
State time of
In your response, available start, and estimated time of completion.
bidder number 2 was 90 days, I believe. Bidder number 2, start date, oh, it does say on, 90-day finish date. Bid number 1. Would begin the project June 6th. That's today. If awarded to them.
They get a time frame on that.
Based upon award, they will furnish certificate of insurance showing general liability, workman's comp, as well as the furnishing performance bond. It does not give a completion date.
Are these both in-county bids?
Yes, sir. Chef, you're talking $10,000 and starts tomorrow.
It doesn't look like they asked for a completion date on that.
Just the 2, that's all we have. Just the 2.
I don't see a completion date request on this.
I guess we
Page
can.
2, 1.2 says, bidder shall submit in the response available start date and estimated time of completion if awarded. Economic Development Director shall coordinate with the bidder to provide a contract which shall be executed by the contractor no later than 2 days after notice of award. So an end date was requested, so to speak.
Well, you could read that too, only if they were awarded to bid.
True.
So I still think probably just have Wade take a look at them.
Yeah.
If we do it, you're sure you're gonna find something and we're gonna be redoing it.
You're exactly right.
I think you guys all looked at an overnight stay for, what was it, 3 days, 3 nights? Need a motion to approve overnight stay. In state.
I'll approve that. I make motion.
Bob moved,
Second.
Don second. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. That's approved. What other stuff do we have on our?
Just everyone had a physical copy.
Oh, physical copy of the flood deal.
Yeah, the weather coverage.
I seen they lowered it, they clamped the gates down a little more. River was pretty low this morning when I come over.
Overnight, it's dropped 3 or 4 feet there at Leroy. I don't know how much lower they may have lowered it down with anticipation of heavy rain last night.
Yeah.
They said it would clear off.
Oh, they did?
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
They shut it clear down?
Yeah, yesterday morning they were all open yet.
I
This
bet
morning they're all shut.
they were expecting some pretty good rain, I imagine. But I don't know. Hope nothing happened to create that shutdown.
Darryl, we're at you.
Oh, really?
Don't get
Okay.
too comfortable right there.
Don't get too comfortable? All right. Here's some more paperwork. I know you wouldn't know what to do without it.
Yeah.
So, anyway, I want to start off with, I'm sure you're all aware that the remodel and the relocation is complete. Just want to let you all know how much we appreciate it. We are already seeing some benefits of our new location. The amount of traffic, we're picking up foot traffic from across the street, you know, people.
So much easier.
It is, yeah.
Much easier.
Access is so much easier. Several have stopped and said, well, we saw your sign. Some of them didn't know what we were, came in to kind of find out what we're all about. Some of our regulars have been over buying supplies and come across for other things. So we're excited about being there, and we really appreciate it, and would really encourage and invite you guys to come and see what the new facility looks like. But it's great.
Yeah, I stopped in here, a month ago or so. It was
Yeah.
pretty nice.
Yeah.
Which I didn't get to see it really beforehand.
Yeah, yeah, and it wasn't quite complete, I don't think, when you were there, so,
100%.
yeah, but, anyway. This is just what I handed out. I guess real brief, in the past, we've kind of given you a quick update on some of our programming. Just real quickly, I'd just like to let you know that we're continuing, or I am continuing our plot work, both out at Wolf Creek, south at the, Cerisa plots. And I just, a week or so ago, initiated a broom sedge control plot in conjunction with, it just left me the guy's name, but it's out towards Coffee Line, north of Hartford. So anyway, we're going to take a look at doing some things to hopefully maybe get a handle on broom sedge that's starting to increase. It really is.
Good.
Yeah, yeah.
It isn't as bad as Cerisa, but there's a lot of them around.
Yeah, and at least there is we hope that there's a more viable alternative to control than Cerisa and Old World Blue Stem. So anyway, and there's a lot of confusion too about Old World Blue Stem and broom sedge, because some people think they've got one and they've actually got the other. So hopefully that's just some stuff that we've initiated to help programming.
So have you found anything for the Old World?
The only thing right now that from Walt Fick at Manhattan's work and research right now, Arsenal seems to be the chemical that's doing the best. It's controlling the Old World. It does ding the native, but it doesn't kill it. You know, you'll see some off coloration and some things like that, but it does come back. But it does, if your timing is right, the Arsenal seems to be doing a pretty good job. There's other things to consider. You know, you don't want that Old World to get very well established at all. So the sooner you can get on it, the better off you are. But anyway, quickly, Jill, you want to fill them in on what's going on with 4-H and other things?
Yeah, the fair's right around the corner.
It is. As far as 4-H, our numbers, we're maintaining our numbers. We're staying consistent with the numbers that we've had in the past for 4-H.
How many young people do you currently work with?
About 135. I know I should have looked at that number. 140. Yeah. You know, we graduate some kids out, and then we get some new kids in and stuff. And we're really young right now. I think that we are older age kids. We graduated a lot last year. We're graduating a lot this year, so we got a lot of young kids. Probably the most exciting thing we got going on right now, we're going to do 4-H camp for our Coffee County kids only. This year, in the past, they went to Rock Springs. A lot of things changed at Rock Springs this year, and we had people interested in doing it here at home, and so we'll be doing that at the end of the month. And so we've got good number of 4-Hers and counselors. That gives our counselors an opportunity to work with the change at Rock Springs. They had to be hired, and so they didn't get that opportunity. So we got good counselors coming, and then we've got some good volunteers coming to help us. Also along the lines of 4-H, we've seen an increase in volunteers in doing some county-wide meetings. So we're getting some county-wide meetings back. That's one of those things that kind of goes up and down. You know, volunteer jumps in and gets involved, and then their kid graduates out, and then it takes a little bit to get it back up again. So so things with 4-H are going really well. As far as on the back side of things, I was a new agent when we got shut down, and then we were pretty much hand-tied for quite a while. So I've been trained in a lot of new things in the last 6 months. I did get the opportunity to get back in the schools, so I'm doing after-school programming at Burlington. I got into the schools in Lebo twice. I'm really hoping to get into some of the other schools too. Obviously, got EHU ladies that I'm working with consistently. I don't go out to them as much, but I do provide them information for their lessons and stuff. So, I think that's about it on the highlights. If you have any questions, I'm happy to answer any of the questions for you. So.
Okay, sounds good. At least as long as the enrollment's staying steady.
Yeah, enrollment's good. You know, we always, we do have area contests coming up in June. I mean, like you said, the fair's right around the corner, but we have contests 2 weeks. We go to Emporia. We'll take a bunch of kids to Emporia and then a bunch of kids to Yates Center. Emporia is photography, facts, horticulture, crops contest, favorite foods contest, and then down at Yates Center they'll do a meats judging contest, livestock judging contest, and a skill-a-thon. So a lot of things for the kids. We got those contests, then we have camp, then we have fair. So anyway.
Busy time of the year.
It is. So, Amy?
Yeah. Now to the purpose, or the reason we're really here. I just provided you the worksheet that we use to develop our budget, mainly because it's a little more detailed, might give you a little more information. The biggest question we had when developing this budget was basically the rent and utilities line, because we've never done that before. Now that you want it reflected in there, Amy Foster is our treasurer.
I see Amy's a new face. Is she replacing her mom?
I don't know if you can replace Carrie, but she's doing a nice job of stepping in.
She'll work at it. She'll work at it.
I'll work at it.
Yeah.
So as you're looking over our breakdown, the majority of our increases are coming from just the increased cost of having our own building, you know, the telephone, utilities, and then a few equipment purchases that we'll have to make. Our utilities, we are just budgeting based off a limited subset of months. You know, we haven't had a July yet, so there's a chance next year we could come back and ask for, you know, a little bit different amount once we get those numbers ironed out. We just don't have a firm figure yet. You know, we were using January through March to make our determinations. So we'll see how efficient the building is, you know, when we get into the summer months or in the really cold winter months. So that is the majority of our increases. Also not reflected in our budget, but we did receive a grant from K-State this summer to have an intern to do some programming, and then they also provided her with programming materials. So it doesn't cost the county anything, but it's a grant that we got from K-State that'll be benefiting the folks here in our county. So that's a pretty big deal for us, that she has, you know, a pretty good budget to do some cool programming things. So this summer you'll be seeing more K-State research and extension activities related to what she'll be doing around here.
And she actually was part of the Coffee County summer intern for a year or two also.
She worked for the extension office for 3 years.
So she's new. She's not new at it.
No.
And she's good at it.
She's got a lot of energy, so she'll be, I'm excited to see what she does. Do you guys have any questions, comments, concerns with the budget?
Yeah. Capital outlay, I see you're increasing that from 5,000 to 10,000. Are you anticipating on buying? What are you anticipating on buying?
We're buying chairs and tables to fill the back room there. We did purchase a stove as well, just to get our area up and running, to make sure that it's fully functional so we can have our meetings, and some of Jill's programming will be there as well.
Now you got room to move about.
Yes.
When are they gonna get your new sign, your outside sign? I see they got a pole there. When are they gonna get that up for you, Darrell?
Last week.
is?
That was the time frame. They were hoping to have got that up last Thursday, and he's got some other stuff. It's in the works, yeah, and in fact,
You putting up a lighted sign or just a?
No, it's not lighted at this
Okay.
point, yeah. I think we're putting one up that will have the option to later, should we decide to, but.
But like you said, the traffic has increased just because of
Oh, yeah.
location.
Yeah,
The sign will add more traffic.
yeah, I think so.
So you have your 4-H meetings down there too as well now, right?
We will start having like our 4-H council meeting that we have, and that involves, all clubs. Well, not all members of the clubs, but someone from each club, I should say.
Looks like it's gonna work out.
Perfect. Well, thank you guys.
Thank you.
Yep. Take a 10-minute break.
Thank you all.
Thanks, Darrell.
Thank you.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, I can get it for you.
Yes, ma'am.
And that makes everything that you've got so far fun. Thank you.
But that was a question that was started a long time ago. You can't do that. I don't remember Joe was talking about it, but I don't.
I'm listening Friday, but I'm on for Thursday, whatever they do.
But you just gotta rub it under.
Way down to, I just did it on my phone. And I was cutting it out. And I have to think of that.
You know, the first one to bring it up.
All right.
Joe said no.
I'm sure there's.
How we doing, Tim?
Good, how about you, Tom?
All right.
Good morning, Tim.
Aubrey?
I'm sure that it just didn't quite feel right.
No. Question.
To keep doing.
I'm sure that the rest of it happened.
I guess they'll get it all figured out.
Brandon, he used to work at the county, he did some research, and he went to one.
But yeah,
But you think,
I mean,
say 20,
I am a
or
little
$7
worried
million
about
on tax,
both, but
that, I bet that ain't 1% of the expense. It might not be. For the 800 boys out there, that.
Man, they stolen those. He put in.
I shouldn't say one, I bet it's less than two, but I wonder what their, gross revenue is from that plant. I'm sorry, I wonder what their gross revenue
those
is.
things coming up.
That'd be an interesting thing.
I've been coming to meetings.
Yeah, that roads would be good, I'd rather work with that, yeah, probability, I think it's terrible hell. Mm-hmm. You're probably right. But I'll bet that tax burden is, there's no way to be over 200%. No, I would think. I don't know what the windmills are making. I don't know what they're.
That's why they always do it, because the reporting keeps going.
No idea. Well, it's fun, it's like it's. Yeah, yes, what else? Ready for a fun-filled week?
Let's see, it's been a crazy busy week at the hospital last week, so hopefully this year.
Kind of mellow out a little bit.
Yes.
Mellow is good.
Yeah, at the hospital, yeah.
what's going on? How you doing? Doing good.
Have a little 10-minute break here. Sweet. Kind of relax and have a dinner. Stay calm.
I was wearing one of the quiet black shirts, Saturday. People never see me in it.
Uh-huh.
I thought I was leaving on vacation.
Leaving on
Leaving
vacation.
Shit,
I bought these down in Louisiana, they're breathable, you know, so, oh, yeah. Yeah, a little big, but, that's the whole part of it.
Yeah.
They got static electricity, excuse me.
Right.
They got some static in them, so I don't like the static.
Hey, Ben? Good, that's you. Ryan? How you doing?
Good, how are you?
Good.
Good.
How's property coming?
Well, we got my driveway, I'm sure you saw.
I haven't even been that way.
My driveway's in and like the culvert.
Yeah.
Your guys' did that obviously. And then, that's all. But we need to do that.
Something hasn't been on the plan.
I'm sorry?
Right.
What is Joe's
Yeah.
last name?
Yeah, so they're gonna be doing that soon. You know, my dad.
John, what is Joe's last
my
name?
stepdad. And then.
Serrano?
I'm gonna
Don't
do
ask
some
me to spell
hours.
it.
No,
I've met with
ask-
builders
It
and
sounded like
stuff, so.
Serrano.
Oh, yeah, so
Mark can probably tell you. How do you,
I do.
spell Joe's last name?
Serrano?
Yeah.
That's how I spell it, or how he spell it?
The right way.
I'll just put it in there and then I'll look through the previous minutes. 'Cause I'm
Yeah,
sure he's been on there
exactly
before.
what I, but,
Well, here.
I thought he was in last week.
I don't think he signed in.
SOROA.
If he writes like I do, you wanna read it.
Still won't know.
I'll just look through the previous meetings. That might be easier.
Yeah, I was gonna look at a previous meeting, that's what I was saying.
My spelling's down at 5th and 6th grade.
Oh, you're gonna,
And my signature is
Yeah,
unreadable.
Well, my writing is sometimes tough.
I used to write a lot of newsletters when I was at the co-op. I don't know how the secretary ever figured out what I was trying to say.
Yep.
one that says SERAN.
I think
I put 2 R's in there, but I don't know.
I think it is only one though.
If you do a search of Kutak Rock.
oh, it is, it's not right.
2 R's is what she put.
You know, after this, SERRANO.
Hey, that's what I guessed.
I was saying swords, so.
I know, I wouldn't have put SE.
I wouldn't.
Is Wayne feeling better than we did last week,
Oh, yeah,
Jeff?
yeah, he'll be here, he just run a little late.
Yeah.
I got a couple things I can fill in.
He didn't look like he's feeling very good last week.
Right, right.
It's hard to tell my employees, bring them in before shutting them down. But you can't get it through.
Stick your big foot out there.
You don't want this shit to fill up before I stop my chair.
Oh, I can call her. Okay, I'll call her and have her email. Normally she emails those to me. Tanya does.
Tree fell over out there. Just made a agreement on it. He'd be great to come get a sandwich, right?
What is that one?
They say goes to paper.
Usually this last week when I was looking for that ARPA money, where's that ARPA money on this one?
It's down there in the chairs, they just never changed it.
Yeah.
Big a tree, you know.
I come in 700.
Because we haven't got the second this way.
Haven't got the second check yet.
Tied into the bank.
Now, when they was gonna put that up, you know, they told us here 2 or 3 months ago it was 700. They didn't know the exact amount, because we had a different amount than what they had at the regional office.
It started off at 700, that was the first half.
Okay.
So now we're waiting on the second half.
Second half of that.
Where'd that first, what did we do with that first? 250,000. What project did you?
Sounds like the water.
What did MC Network send us
I'm
getting?
sorry?
What did MC Network send us?
NT Network.
They got a pretty substantial.
That's where it went.
NT Network.
My mom said it was too cold for her.
I've made a couple of calls, I still can't get any of
Yeah.
that, other than kids.
Oh gosh, that was the worst.
You're telling me. Sorry. I'm in trouble.
Oh, yeah, it is going.
Sometimes I wonder if I don't get the olive cut.
Well, now.
Mr. Jeff, county,
I just got a couple of things. Wayne actually has some stuff. He's
Is he
running-
coming?
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
he's running a little bit late. So, I thought I'd better give you an update on 16th and Angus. We're closing that at right after lunch today.
Don't close it.
Yeah.
Why'd they shut the gates? Because of the rain down south?
I guess. I mean, there's been some great collaboration on this. Eugene's called me daily to give me updates. Amber's been great to work with, Tom as well, working together. I never do get any information why they're opening and closing things, so he just kind of gives me projections and let me know what's coming in the lake, what they're releasing.
Was
and
there
what
any
they're-
word of what rain happened up north last night? Oh, that had come down the Cottonwood and Yosemite?
When he called me yesterday, there was at least a couple of inches of rain that they've got over in the
Marion,
over in that
Council
direction.
area.
Yep.
That's
Yep.
all gonna be here in
Chase
a couple of days.
Yeah. So right now, if the elevation 1,060.6, we've been able to hold it off to this point, but they're expecting, I think, a couple more feet coming in. So it's just been real slow. We've been planning on this ever since what day we
You
talked.
called Friday, didn't you?
Yeah.
You called me Friday.
Yeah, and I think we started working on it Thursday, just slow. Been nice. The biggest problem is Lyon County has that bridge closed. So I called them this morning. Their projection, before we got all the rain, was that would to be open this week. No, it's gonna be, I think he told me the 23rd now.
Is 16th, is that where the rock quarry is? It's where the rock.
It's where it comes in from the east. That comes from Jacobs Creek, doesn't it? Comes west out of Jacobs Creek. So really, that's the only access paved around the bridge road
That's correct.
construction.
That's correct. And we have no other options. I mean, our next option's Embankment Road, as far as getting around the lake, so.
Well, they completely put a new bridge in there.
No, they're putting a whole new deck on.
Just a deck.
Right.
And I may have said it before, but I forget, so.
Right, whole new deck, and they're talking about some handrails, so they must have done some upgrading as well. I don't think it's gonna be any wider, but.
So is 16th flooded now?
Yes.
It's flooded now.
Yeah. It's passable, but it's, you know, at some point it's gonna get dangerous, especially by dark. That's what we're the horse and buggy. Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Both just right in the center.
Right. Plus around the curves, does everybody else like to see it?
I've seen it.
You see it? Yeah. So, around the curve actually too, there's some water spilling out on the road you can't see, so.
You know, I'm real surprised. I was out running around the other day. It was a Saturday. I come down Emmer, all the way to the refuge, took the curve around to the left to go to, the creek, which would be Atherley's Hill. I don't know what road, what is that, 19th? And they don't have, the Corps of Engineers don't have any road closed that runs into that creek. And it is deep.
There's gates there, so I don't know.
No, there's no gates that shuts it off Emmer onto 19th.
Okay.
It's going other ways, but they don't even have the horses road closed.
I'll be darned. Well,
I mean, somebody that's flying down Emmer Road,
I know
takes that curve and just heads east, they're gonna be deep in the water quick.
I'll ask,
I mean, that'd be at nighttime, that'd be the worst thing at
Right.
nighttime.
Right. I'll do some checking on
I
that.
mean, it's great fishing there. I don't
Right.
mind it being open, so.
Yeah. Anyway, we held it off as long as we could.
Yeah.
So did the lake. They've been great to work with. So, I know Wayne's, just about in here. I just want to talk a couple pieces of equipment, some used equipment. Here again, that's kind of a gray area. We have been buying a little bit lately. Gonna start looking at a, day cab fifth wheel. We have a 1997 Ford 9000. This become very undependable. Don't exactly know what the market's like out there right now. We're not asking for a new one. I'm sure it's gonna be like looking for a needle in a haystack to find the right value for, and not overpay. So at this point, I really don't think there's a motion needed on that. The way I understand it is if I find something, just come back and discuss that with you at that time.
What do we pull with that?
Well, we pull our water wagon and we also pull our belly dump rock trailer. But it doesn't get utilized as near as much as we'd like to. I've got an employee who'd like to drive it a lot more. And with the price of fuel, and it'll haul more rock.
Kenworth proposal,
It's on the low boy.
does it have a wet kit on it?
No, I don't believe it does. I don't believe it does. So anyway, same thing with another, bobtail sized truck for the bridge crew to pull our trailer. Looking at you building our own bed, that will eventually, they've got a pickup. We're gonna move down to another crew, do some bed swapping, and by the end of that, we'll have a pickup to get rid of as well. So not trying to add to the fleet, just trying to become more efficient. So, fuel, Don, we got to talk about that just a little bit the other day. Our fuel policy is that we don't bid fuel. Everybody on the list, we just go down the list. But I don't know the way the economy and the fuel is now. I mean, maybe we should look at calling and checking the prices before we just.
There was considerable amount of difference last month in some of the fuel prices, which I know you was gonna do a little checking into it. We gotta support all of our local business, I fully understand that.
Right.
But we also need to be a little more competitive on the price, maybe, from what I've seen last month.
We can try it a couple of times. The thing it does do, I mean, it gets us away from, but may not everybody on that list get the chance to sell us fuel. Has that become a problem for us or you guys? I don't know.
But if there's a difference, the next day that difference could be gone.
That's correct. I mean,
It's going for all three of them.
It could flip the other way.
Well, well, that's true.
But it's going every day for all three of them. It'll be happening the same day, probably. Chances are.
Depends on when they get a transport load in.
Yeah. We discussed this a few years ago, and I think at the time, it was pretty unanimous that we would do it the way we were doing it.
Right.
That way, because there was really never much difference in the prices. And that kept several businesses in the county in business. By helping keep them in business by what we were doing.
Right. Well, I know I talked to Lewis just a little bit. They're making a handling fee off of it, basically. I really hate to get away from the way we're doing it, but maybe the next time we need fuel, and we may have got fuel between that bill and now, I don't know. But we could at least call the list and see, because a dime would make quite a bit of difference. A penny, not so much. If you guys are all right with that, just call everybody on the list.
How much do you get at a time?
I know that bill for unleaded was 6,500 gallons. I'm gonna assume diesel's about the same.
So you're not getting quite a full transport load then?
I don't know how much they hold.
They've been
7,500 on diesel.
They've been running, yeah, gas will be 8,200.
Yeah, and they weren't clear empty when co-op. I just noticed that on that bill, so we're in that ballpark of a full transport. Anyway, we'll kind of keep plugging away on that.
From my understanding from history conversation was they would like to sell a transport load at a time is what they would bring in.
Right.
Because they just bring it
Right. I'm sure you're closer to right than I am on that. I just noticed that one bill that Don asked about, this is $6,500.
Well, I personally don't think just because of a one-time incident that we ought to just up and change what we're doing.
Well, no, I agree with you there, but is it worth, I mean, not just a one-time incident, this fuel it's going to eat us up this year. I mean, if a person's seeing a dime interest, we're affecting a lot of budgets with the people that get fuel out the shop. So, no, I agree with that, just the volatility, and I don't think we're gonna see much difference in price. It's probably not worth it, but at least we could say we checked for the best.
Yeah, I think last month that one was 20-cent difference, so, which is $1,600.
Right. So, anyway.
It'd be good to stay with the policy we got in place, but I don't think it hurts to keep an open mind on it. Especially what we've seen last month.
We'll just test the waters once and see if there's enough to
Nothing wrong with
justify it.
checking.
You might find somebody that's on the old fuel price and everybody else is on the new fuel price.
You might.
You know, and you might be able to save 40 cents a gallon.
You could catch something
It all
like
depends
that.
on when they get a transport load in, is when it changes.
Yeah, could catch
Right now,
something.
it's too volatile.
Or some business may already have it hedged, 'cause I know.
They could, and I'm assuming, like, if we called Lewis today and asked for a transport, they're just turning around and calling their supplier and ordering that transport.
Just bring it straight drop.
Yes. Yeah, so I don't, they said it's real hard to look at the pump price and tell what we're paying, because, all right, we'll work on that.
Thank you. Mr. Wayne?
Yes, thank you. I have Steve Rosemary here, surveyor out of Emporia, so my question is, do you want to start with Steve first, or do you want to go ahead and go through those motions? I think you have 4 motions, Steve was the last motion on that one.
Let's just go through the motions.
All right.
And, then you can explain what you're wanting to for Steve, and then we can go into that.
We can do that. Does
that sound good?
Yep. All right, so fairly simple, straightforward. The first 2 motions is the asphalt bids that we received. Taking the advantage of the fact that we had some asphalt here in Burlington, the city of Burlington, so bids kind of reflected those same type of prices since they're in the neighborhood. And so that's what we have. So low bid recommended would be Kilo for the first project. That would be 2202. And then also the low bid for the other one. The first one is just basically, Jeff helped me out on this one. It's just basically just west of town, right? I believe on that one. That bid there.
The big one?
Yeah,
Yeah.
2202. 2.5 miles. It's on 11th.
Out around the Catholic Cemetery and back.
Right. And then the next one is just a small section, about 0.25 miles. It's the one just north of Lebo.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So those would be the 2 motions, and both low bids was Kilo. As you can see, the prices from the others as well.
Pretty good difference.
Yeah. Well, that's, once again, they had the bid here in Burlington. So that helped that one out.
We'll go to motion 2022-18, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, moved that bid received June 1st, 2022 by Kilo Construction, Ottawa, Kansas, in the amount of $289,234.40 for hot mix asphalt HMA project number A2202-C. Funds be paid from general fund, Public Works asphalt line item.
Make the motion.
Tim's moved.
I'll second.
Don second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye, motion passes. Next one, motion number 2022-19, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move that bid received June 1st, 2022 by Kilo Construction, Ottawa, Kansas, in the amount of $72,240 for hot mix asphalt, project number A as in apple 2203-C. Funds be paid from general fund, public works asphalt line item. I'll move.
I'll second.
Jesse's moved, Tim second, any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Okay, the first of the month, we had hired the foreman with your approval on the CP2. That'd be the asphalt group. That foreman was the leadman of that asphalt group. And so now we're asking to go ahead and fill that position, and it is in-house only. So those positions don't go outside. They'll do inside. So we'll just go ahead and take that hurdle out of the way.
Motion 2022-32, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer, move to approve request for authorization to advertise and hire one full-time leadman for asphalt crew, in-house only. No new position being added. This request will only fill a current vacant position within the department due to promotion.
I'll move.
Tom move.
I'll second.
Don second. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
Okay, thank you. The last motion, this would be where Steve has graciously accepted my proposal, my thoughts as far as being able to continue land surveying in the department. So with my retirement as engineer and also the county land surveyor, we won't have those services since we're not replacing that. So some of the services people don't think about, but some of the services that we do is, for example, one is the survey reviews. So one is I've done all the survey reviews for the last 15 years. There's a minimum charge for that. Also, any of the right-of-way that we needed to have staked, be it our projects. So if we're doing a ditching project and we want to know where that back slope's at on the ditching project, is that going to be basically into the right-of-way? Or are we going to have to acquire additional property for that right-of-way? So that recovers the section corners. That also recovers the right-of-way and staking the right-of-way. Those are all actions of a land surveyor, licensed land surveyor. And then we also have the requests from landowners that want to know, hey, where's my right-of-way at? This is a service not very many counties do in the whole 105 counties, but we do. I've taken upon that when we have time, we will actually go out and help out the landowner as far as putting back in the fence. And so we'll stake the right-of-way for that. So once again, that's the action of a licensed land surveyor. The other part is when there's design surveys. We had done our own in-house design, so we'd also do basically the recovery of the section corners and right-of-way. So we would have that on the plans and be able to purchase additional right-of-way as we needed. So that was there as well. But since we won't be doing in-house design, we still can recover the corners for the designer that would be coming in. That way we have control as far as our corners in the county. Maintain that consistency of our control. So all of this is fairly covered in here, is basically continuity of service, is to provide land surveying. This also too is by having Steve on board as an on-call licensed land surveyor. He's also met our 2 survey technicians and was very pleased with those folks, very impressed on their abilities and what they can do. And so this is a reach for a land surveyor to step out and say, okay, I will be in responsible charge with your folks as they communicate with me to basically do the work that you're wanting to do. You're not gonna find too many that's willing to do that. Steve's willing to do it. He met our folks. He knows basically the caliber that we have. It also is going to continue their experience level working underneath a licensed land surveyor to eventually get licensed. So when you talk about continuity and such as that, these folks could potentially get licensed, and I'm not for sure how many years that would be. I think there's an offset between one and the other, but the potential's out there. So we still have that available to us.
Is that an interest for the two that's out there to be licensed one of these days?
It's my understanding that they are, that they have looked at it. There's a class right now, Steve, all of his references is very long. And one of them is that he's actually an instructor for the school in Kansas City for land surveying. Steve has also been on the Board of Tech for over 10 years. He's also been on investigation for the Board of Tech for probably more than that, 20?
20.
Yeah.
25, actually.
So
we're saying your surveyors you have on staff now are, it's not that far out before they would be licensed?
Potentially.
Time-wise.
I think one of them could actually take some classes up in Kansas City and get that land surveyor in training within 1 year possibly. And then after that, I believe it's 4 years after that.
That's 4 years, yeah. Well, after you've examined.
After you got the
After you
exam.
pass the first exam. And these are online classes.
Yeah.
So they could take them without having to travel to Kansas City.
So how often right now would Steve possibly be needed? It's just a question.
Well, that's a good one. I think the thing where we're going to see almost a weekly contact would be the review of surveys. And so we get, Fred Walrod does about 90% of them in the county.
I was gonna ask you about Fred.
And he does a lot of them. Steve has done several, not to take away from his, but there's a lot there in the Lebo area I think he's done too. But Fred has done a lot of them that I've dealt with. And the only other one that we have is
I have an employee, Aaron.
Oh, Aaron, yeah. Well, they're in the same office. Yeah, that's the other advantage here. We got 2 licensed land surveyors in the same office.
So when would you want to bring Steve in? You're still here for 2 months.
Oh, end of July, 1st of August. But getting something started here is what we're trying to achieve. Because the other side of this too, Bob, I mean, it's a good point, but it doesn't just mean that it automatically cuts off. I got to get something in place, because now we're going to have a person that drops off surveys at the Register of Deeds, comes to me, and I do a review. Now it's basically going to need to be dropped off at the Highway Department, and we're looking at those folks to do the initial review, then send up and visit with Steve, and basically
Yeah, I
get the
totally
final
understand
review.
that, but I don't want it the other way either, is we hire Steve and you drop it off, cut it off.
Oh, no.
See.
Yeah, unfortunately, I'm stuck. I mean, you're stuck with me, so, yeah.
Well, actually, I did the reviews before Wayne come along here in this county.
Absolutely.
And he cut me off.
I just cut him off, right? Yeah, no notice at all. I just cut him off and said, no more, we're sending them to you.
No, that was quite all right. That
Okay.
was quite fine with me.
Well,
I also review in 5 counties, other than Coffee County.
I know this transition for us from having an engineer to not having one is
Uncharted.
could be uncharted, could be challenging. We're gonna stub our toe a time or two, but glad you're interested in.
Well, there's another thing I could do is that since I've been in Lyon County and with Lyon County, I actually, what I call babysat the county on 2 different occasions while they were between engineers, and was their assistant road supervisor for a year and a half. And have worked in consulting, worked for consultants. I have staked miles and miles and miles of highway and FAS routes. And if you wanted to bring me on board when you're looking to hire a consultant for a job, I'd be willing to help out in that area, because I've seen a lot of how this works at the consultant level, and that's one thing you're going to get into without Wayne here to examine the proposals and decide, do you do QBS here? And, there's a lot that goes into that. So I would be available for that too, to help on that area, if so desired, of course.
Well, I know there's a lot of things that Wayne Blackburn does in this county that a lot of us don't even have a clue. You know, and to get somebody in here that's gonna take two surveyors under their wings with their license on the line is a pretty remarkable opportunity in my eyes.
So with that being said, not that I'm against any of this at all, but can we talk amongst ourselves some more at round table and then go to this motion, if that's okay?
Oh, absolutely. This is one, and I've told you about the landfill too. This is one that you're gonna have, there's three that you're gonna have to do to, I hate to say replace me, not replacing me, but to do the jobs that I do. One is the land surveying that we're talking about now. Two is gonna be the landfill, which we talked about, and that's Blackstone. That's hand-picked, I'm sorry. Those folks have been there since the beginning of the landfill. And so I'm waiting for their proposal to come in. And that's basically, even today, I received mail from the Kansas Department of Health and Environment, and that's our industrial stormwater permitting. I mean, that all goes to these guys. And the annual permit's due in September. So all of that, that's the landfill portion of it. Then the third one is basically the county engineer, on-call county engineer. Now, what level do you want them to participate or not, it's gonna be up to you. I mean, Steve's offering basically additional services than land surveying. You know, that's up to you, however you wanna do it, but you'd still have to have that PE in place, or well, you still have to have that PE in place, because they're still the county engineer. You still statutorily require a county engineer. You just do an on-call type status.
With everything that you've been doing, Wayne, some of it maybe behind the scenes, how did we discover and make sure that we get everything covered after you leave?
I think Tom really hit it on the head. I mean, it's a gentleman's way of saying, we're gonna do our best. We may stumble once in a while, but at the end of the day, life will go on, and this county will continue to operate.
But there are timetables on all that stuff too.
Yeah, I got it on my phone right here. I got a retirement clock, it's right. But
I don't think that was
wrong time. That's the wrong timetable, okay.
That's not my question.
That's not the one, oh, well, I misread that one. So, but yeah, I would say, you know, what I'd like to come back, I mean, after this, I mean, you need to do the round table. You're not gonna find a surveyor better than Steve. He's the best in the state.
I like the idea of having minimal people, personally.
Yeah. And again, it's gonna be trial.
Yeah.
I mean, well, that didn't work, so we'll switch gears and go this way, so.
But having those three areas taken care of, then it's gonna be the coordination of what you're working with to basically run the department, is what you're doing.
And I don't think anything, and not to take anything away from your importance, but I mean, nothing was a strict emergency. I mean, nothing, you know what I mean? Maybe an occasional emergency where you get to jump through fire hoops to get something accomplished, whether it be surveying or engineering, but for the most part, you have time.
Most part you have time until you're dealing with the state permitting.
Yeah.
Then they got all the dates and stuff that.
Correct.
You gotta get this done.
Right.
So on.
So this Highway 50 deal.
It's still working.
That you've designed, is this something that this gentleman would have to take over, or is it all gonna be done? It's all gonna be done.
That'll still be the consultant side.
It's the consultant side.
Yeah, what we don't wanna do is blend the surveying into consultant engineering, because they generally do their own, but what we can do, though, is maintain control of the section corners. And then they have to accept those corners to design off of. That's a big one.
And one of the things that Wayne does is when a consultant comes in and new right-of-way is acquired, you review their legals and make sure that they're all okay, and that's another thing that the county surveyor.
Right.
there's always that's involved in any kind of a project with a widening on a bridge, for instance. So.
The good thing about technology today with the surveying equipment, you know, it can just be a thumb drive. Put in, download the information, put it on the computer, send it, or send the thumb drive to the surveyor, and, I mean, it's simple. It's not like he's gotta be in the office.
No, that is absolutely correct.
It saves time, it saves travel time and money.
It does, and that happens in the other 5 counties I review in, is that if the surveyor proves themselves, who I review, proves themselves that they can produce a quality product that doesn't need to be kicked back, then I allow them to send me a preliminary PDF file. And then I do a preliminary review before they send me the real thing. And that speeds things up on their end. Having 42 years in private business, I can assure you that time is of the essence on getting a job closed. And all realtors know one thing: they know how to take 0.06 times any number, and so they're interested in getting that deal recorded. And the reviewer is often the last step.
As you do your roundtable, the other side is we have equipment that we do the surveying with. GPS, we have a robotic, we have basically a total station. We have all of this stuff in place that our technicians have been using. And the ones that you see now are the ones that were actually laid out the landfill, cell number 4. And so they have the skill set to be on that equipment. He's willing to take over as his license to basically help them along. You got division of license. You got land surveying that can do only so much, and you got engineering that can only do so much. An engineer can't sign off on land surveying, and a land surveyor can't sign off on engineering. So. Right.
And I can assure you that I know the difference between the two.
I imagine you do.
And my ethics is quite strong, and I don't vary. I know what I'm supposed to do, and I also know what they're supposed to do and not do. I served on the board of tech and was involved in the last licensing law revision. I was chair of the committee, so I understand that.
I'm sure that they're probably a hard view between, but, and I don't want to speak for Wade, but I think it's probably a Wade question is, have you contacted anyone else for the same position?
No, I have not. No, this would be my recommendation. That's where I would stand. When I evaluate the 3 surveyors that we have in the county, Steve, Fred, and then the other one is Brian Cates. Those are the 3 that are over 99% of all the surveying in our county. Fred's 90% of his is basically would be reviewing his own. He can't do that. All right, that's just not going to work. And then Brian, his is maybe 1% that he even does in the county, and he hasn't been here too often. But Steve, not only on his credentials, okay, which is high and above anybody else, and we're fortunate to have somebody that close to us, Emporia. He's even an expert witness in several court cases. To have that quality to basically pass on to the 2 folks that we have, and to willing to take on that responsible charge, I don't have anybody else I'd make a recommendation.
I am not questioning his ability whatsoever.
Yeah,
I just think that's a question that's probably going to be asked.
And that's where I would fall back on professional services, doesn't require a bidding process. But that's where I'm at, Bob. I cannot, through the thought process, think of anybody better. And to have somebody be able to train our folks the way they need to be trained.
Plus he has a person in his office that's licensed as well, Drew.
Yes, that is right.
You're not getting 1, you're getting 2.
That's right.
Fundamentally, yes.
Mm-hmm.
That is true. Aaron Davis, LS, PS, as we're called now, and I work together on projects. We decide who's going to take what. And at my age, I'd like to have it shift more.
Take a little less. Take a little easier.
One of my late father, LS 882, you might have known, Tony Jim Brosman. That's my father. He used to say that Best thing about getting old, son, is you get to pick and choose. So I get to pick and choose.
You've done your time.
If I paid my dues, as they say.
Very well. Well, I think it's good roundtable discussion. We'll probably have it hammered out.
Okay.
Thanks, gentlemen.
Thank you.
Thank you. Nice meeting you.
You bet.
Coffee County Library, Mary Davies. How are you this morning?
Fine.
You didn't bicycle this weekend, did you? You know?
Nah, well, actually I did a little bit, but not very far, not
in the
very
crazy
far.
race?
Nothing crazy.
You are next weekend, right?
Yeah,
That's
yeah,
what I thought.
Next week, it'll be on. Okay, so, I wrote out what I'm gonna say because I'm a little nervous, so. I want to introduce myself again this year. My name's Mary Davies, and I've been with the Coffee County Library for 23 years. 22 of those years I was the branch director at Lebo, and I've now been the county administrator for 1 year. The past year has been a bigger challenge than I imagined. I've literally spent 12 months trying to learn my position and perform it to the best of my ability. And I literally could not have survived it without my library board and my employees. They've been the best. Library users have created new habits over the course of the pandemic. One of the major increases is in digital platform use. We believe it will continue to rise. All of our programming is again in person, although many of our programs and services continue to have touchless options to make all of our patrons feel comfortable and continue to use our services. All of our in-person numbers have continued to increase again, which include door count, in-person programming, and physical material circulation. Although I've shared statistics and figures in my budget request, the main point I'd like to highlight is the determination and innovation of the Coffee County Library employees have shown during these unprecedented times. Ultimately, that tells us more than the statistics ever could. The Coffee County Library has operated without an increase in our budget for several years. While this sounds like a great idea, we're getting further behind in key areas such as salary, technology equipment, building maintenance, and improvements. We have found ways of getting by, but that is no longer feasible. And in fact, this year, we were notified by the state of Kansas that we were ineligible for our state grant and aid money because the budget was too low. The Coffee County Library plays an essential role in the communities that we serve, and we very much want to continue to support our vision statement as a valued resource for today, tomorrow, and forever. I'd welcome any questions that you have for me about the library or our 2023 budget request. And if I don't know the answer, I can figure it out.
Just don't say circle back.
Increase, Mary, in the personnel service of 146, is that new employees or increases for current employees?
Increase for current employees. We have given the minimum, just the regular 1%, 1.5. We do a merit and a cost of living, but usually they get both. But when some of the cities increased theirs, it became obvious that I'm going to lose employees to others, private business and others, if I don't make some attempt to compensate and keep our salaries in line. I did a study. I compared our libraries to with comparable positions to Leavenworth, Ottawa, Emporia, and then our ones that weren't library positions I compared to the Burlington School and the Burlington Courthouse employees, like our maintenance and office personnel.
Commodities increased 77,000. What's inside commodities?
I didn't bring my one where I had it divided out, but, we have some that are contractual services that are like,
So it's up 26,000 contractual.
the other one, like, any kind of, supplies, like all of our supplies for our buildings, pretty much anything that's not contractual, so. Programming and. That wasn't a very good answer, so I'm sorry.
I'm just curious what, because contractual's up 26 and commodities up 77, capital outlay's up 55, so that's a total of 140. Just those three categories.
Yeah.
I'm not trying to throw
I know.
down.
I know, and.
Those are substantial increase.
Yeah, and, our buildings are 30 years old, we're getting ready, Design Mechanical is getting, our heating and air at Burlington is, pneumatic, and.
That fall under capital outlay.
Yes,
So.
and it's 112,000, and we couldn't wait any longer on that when we had leaks, and it's been a mess. So it's gonna happen soon. But our buildings are just aging, we have original furniture, we have, we still have a roof to replace. We have carpet that's getting, just aesthetically and functionally. We're behind on computer equipment, we haven't, our actual physical computers, they're not, we just haven't been replaced. We're just making do, and we're getting by, and we haven't done it. We haven't asked for an increase in quite a time, so it felt like this was.
I know our school district, for one, doesn't have the huge library that we used to have 20 years ago, 30 years ago. The library, I'm sure, is the same way in Gridley. Library in Leroy and Gridley, it's unimaginable how much it's used by our young people.
Yeah.
Waverly closed theirs.
They closed their library.
Waverly has an elementary library, but they don't have a junior high and high school.
Yeah.
They're using the public school.
We've had
Library.
a library sometimes, so it's kind of hard to put
Is
a value.
Lebo's school library still open?
Yeah, we fought for that last year, and it's, so far it's still there.
Even in high school?
Well, they have one,
Everybody
it's
uses it?
together, but they're not putting anything much towards it, so, it's discouraging as a librarian. But, it is still physically there, so that's good.
I believe that Waverly High School closed theirs this year.
Ours has been done for a long time.
Mhm.
I'm not gonna say a year, but.
And we do a lot of things for youth, but we also, serve a lot of adults as well.
Are your I see your capital outlay, when I see all the things you have, and that makes sense to me why you're raising it. Fiscal and for your future capital expenditure. But your commodities, are you taking a lot of your computers and that kind of stuff out of commodities?
I can tell you that this year, we haven't bought any computers.
But next year you're anticipating 60,000.
We need a new server. Right now, our payroll and accounts payable is on a computer that's on the actual computer. And so if that computer crashes, then we would lose that. So in order to put it on the server, our server isn't new enough. So we need to buy a new server so that we can put it, on the desk.
Are you planning on taking $59,000 or $60,000 per computer? Are you planning on taking that out of your commodities, is what I'm asking, because you're raising your commodities quite a bit. Is that where that will come from?
At the end of the year, we can transfer over the 10%, is that? And so if, we don't end up having as much snow removal or utilities or any of those items, then we move it over.
That's contractual. That would be contractual there.
Okay, so now you're asking me questions I don't know the answers
I'm
to.
But I mean, I just wanna know, where are you gonna get the $60,000 for the computers from? Where is it gonna come from? I mean,
Which one of these categories?
which category? Your capital outlay, I fully understand, because that's the stuff you're doing to the buildings and so forth.
Mhm.
That would be real close on capital. But the commodities, you got $60,000 equipment stuff, but I don't, and I'm sure you're not taking that out of contractual, because that's what you
They're
study, your
set.
snow removal, your repair your roof, your soffit, and that kind of stuff. But are you gonna take it from the commodities? Is that what you're calling commodities? I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I need to
I
know.
guess-
Well, about it has to be.
I just wanna know
Yeah.
where it's getting from.
73,
Yeah,
so.
it has to be.
Yeah.
You're talking about computer equipment, Bob?
Yeah.
It's under capital.
Under capital.
Capital improvement.
Well,
It's right, it's under the 55.
okay, but if that's the case, then all this other can't come out of capital, because then your increase for that, so are you taking the kitchenette and stuff? Where's it gonna come, commodities?
Well, we do have a capital outlay fund,
Right.
is that,
Mhm.
According to the breakdown of future capital outlay expenditures, there's no computers in it, so the computers about it.
there's computers in there.
Yeah, there is, $59,500.
Oh, there it is, I'm sorry, I missed it. That's all.
That's the 60,000 I'm talking
Yeah,
about.
okay, all right, I'm sorry. Look right over that one.
I mean, to me, you're budgeting for the extra money to take care of these, but I'm not real sure that some of what you're budgeting can come from where you're thinking can come from, because only certain things can come from capital outlay,
Right.
and only certain things can be under commodities. And I'm not sure what all the list is of what's where.
I should have brought I do know what the commodities are, but I didn't bring that sheet with me where I had them marked.
You know, capital outlay, you've got it up $55,000, and that's all under one category there. Computer equipment's 35, other equipment's 10, long-term capital improvement's 10, so that 55 is all
Coming out of
delegated
this
to that
fund.
one line item. You know, contractual is up 26 from the 22 budget, but it's only up 8,000 from the 21 actual. So,
Well, actually, the painting of some of the buildings could come under contractual, but then you're still, where's the the extra 70,000 for commodities? What's it being used for? What is it going to consist of?
What are the commodities consisting of?
Yeah, $70,000 worth of commodities. What do you?
Commodities would be the computers, right?
Well,
they're all
under capital outlay.
Capital outlay, which they can be under capital outlay.
They can be under.
They can be.
you just take commodities up 77, you've got, you got program, you got discretionary, got communications, got maintenance, technology, there's lots of items there that's gonna make up for that contractual. And I think where Bob come from, maybe some of those items that are under contractual may need to be in another category, but when it comes time to write the checks, you can delegate them almost from wherever you want to.
Okay.
To a point.
Okay.
Now, on your construction, are you taking bids on work that's being done?
Mhm.
3 bids for 2 or 3 bids.
Depends on the price of it and stuff, yeah.
This is like on the painting and the
Mhm.
kitchenette and all that stuff.
Do you still follow kind of the same guidelines? I'm new to this kind of stuff, but do you still kind of follow the same guidelines as the county does as far as accepting bids, if it's over a certain amount?
I have a certain spending authority, and then, it goes up to another level where you have to get it doesn't have to be put in the paper, but I have to get three bids, and then if it's after another amount, I run it in paper.
Now, you've got a board that you,
Absolutely.
that I know in the times that we're in, it's pretty important to, make sure you're doing business with qualified people.
I'm sorry, Bob.
Bonded people, because they can come in and do something and leave, and then it costs twice as much to fix what they messed with. But if they're bonded, then, you can go back on that bond, and you're not at risk. You're at risk, but you've kind of hedged your risk,
Mhm.
so it's important that you protect, you're just basically protecting yourself, being bonded, having a contractor, having a bond, a performance bond. So it's just something that we've been kind of pushing here lately on county stuff.
And like I said, I do apologize because it is my first year, and this is exactly what I need. I need help.
And we're not trying to red flag everything.
No,
You know, you take collections on materials, you got in there $100,000. Is that?
The library standard is 10%, 10 to 12% of the whole budget. For
Yeah, under
materials.
collections, materials, 100,000, digital resources, 12, that's 112, and that's exactly the difference between expenditures and county support. We don't have a line item of 112. I mean, we can get there, but,
Okay, I guess I don't
because that's income, correct? Of some sort.
Of collection? No, it's our library collection. It's our, what we're spending on materials. Is that what you mean?
The total expenditure is 1.4, county support's 1.324, total resources 1.4. Where's that 112 difference coming from? That's income.
Probably doesn't.
In the collection column,
Okay.
there's 112 sitting there.
Okay, but that's our
Collections, to me,
library.
that's income.
No, collection is like what we call our library collection. That's like that's our book.
That's the money you make off,
No, that's not money
That-
we make. It's
that
our
is
actual physical, the books
books.
in the,
the
in the
book.
library.
Like
They're not.
value of
Yeah, like our-
merchandise.
Like what we're gonna spend.
It's income, is it income? The word collections tells me it's income.
It's collected.
No.
Collection is like, these are all
If you
our
have a
books, this is our
collection of
collection.
papers, that's not necessarily income.
And it's, some of it is physical and some of
Where's
it
this
is
112
digital.
difference coming from?
So basically, this is your inventory
Yeah, of our books.
of your books.
It's not the
And
inventory, but it's like what we're gonna spend.
what you're gonna spend on new.
On
inventory.
new inventory.
Okay.
So it's called our library collection.
If that's the case, it ought to be up here in the expenditures, and we've already identified most of it.
Yeah, if you're gonna spend $112,000 on books and digital
See, it's not
this
up
year,
there.
it should be listed over here.
It's gotta be listed
somewhere.
here, and it's not.
Or in these figures somewhere.
It's not listed, it's not as part of my commodities.
I don't think so.
Well,
Mary, I'm gonna
I guess I can't
suggest
say
this.
it.
We've never done it this way before, but, and nothing wrong, I don't think you quite understand what we're requesting. And I don't think we understand kind of what you could.
Okay.
I'm gonna suggest that sometime this week, you come in and talk to the county clerk how this stuff goes, and then.
And you're talking to Angie, right?
Right.
Okay. And I did show it to
bring
Angie
back.
before I brought it back. Apparently I'm not.
Okay.
I'm not saying it right, or I don't have it right,
I mean,
and I can't explain it good enough.
I think it's us not understanding also.
Yeah,
I think
right on the back of it.
you're new at it. I'm not trying to downgrade anything.
Yeah, that's last.
You're great, but
Yeah, well, believe, I've worked on it really hard, so I don't want you to think that I'm taking it lightly at
no,
all.
we don't. No way at all. No way at all.
We just wanna make sure it's right.
Yeah.
Everything's right.
We just, we need it right to.
We need it right for your department.
You also have to explain it to the public of why
Right.
we're doing it.
Mhm. Okay.
We don't wanna approve something and then it be not what you want.
Okay.
Well, and I want
Or
it to
not
be
what we're
right,
thinking.
yeah. I want it to be right.
And I'm sure the clerk's office could help identify.
There might be, one little thing that just throws us quite off, that we're not catching.
I'm looking at the 21 budget right here, I guess. The difference, in the 22 budget, difference between expenditures and county support is 60,000. That was 22. And this year, that goes to 112. So where's that 112 revenue actually coming from? And a year ago, it was projected to be 60, so there's some
Right.
things we probably need to have some further discovery on.
And the 60,000 is the capital outlay, what we transferred over to capital outlay.
Well, I mean, that's income there we're looking for.
I don't understand.
Your capital outlay, I'm pretty confident it's pretty close. That's not too much of a question, and your contractual, to me, is pretty close to what you got. But the commodities is what really sticks out to me of close to 75,000 difference. And I don't know what that consists of, what you're wanting it to consist of.
Okay.
And I'm not sure that.
Should have brought that up.
I mean, we have a little while before we have to.
Oh, yeah.
We need to try to get it straight so that we all understand it, so.
73,519. I'm trying to see if I can find where that 73,519 is, or 591 is. In my Goldberry, so it's not gonna do me a good look at anything.
Thank you. It has been a tough year, let me say, I've had a lot of cleanup to do.
Jumping from just taking care of one to taking care of all of them is
Well, and pretty much everything I've had to do, I've had to figure out from scratch.
all on your own. Didn't have much help going into it. No, I mean, there's a lot of numbers here. I like it.
Yeah, we do a lot of good stuff. But I do wanna make sure it's right.
They do, and they do extra stuff too. Mary took on a project with Meals on Wheels to get stable food baskets to people, which we really appreciated her doing that. She just jumped right in and didn't hesitate. So they do a lot of other things other than just loan books.
Yeah.
Meals on Wheels for the young people there. I talked to Misty the other day, they've got about 150 cases of brown boxes there against the north wall.
Yeah, last Friday, 1,000 pounds of food showed up. I was like, oh gosh.
Wow.
But anyway, well,
The
so let me
services
know
you-
how to proceed. I said I'd answer any question you had, but obviously I wasn't as good at that as I thought, but
Well, it sounds like the only question is what's in the commodities.
what is in the commodities, that's what I need to answer for you.
Yeah, where do you have $70,000 worth of commodities?
Yeah.
Okay. And, so when I go back and look at my stuff, because I haven't marked out, I mean, I go back to Jennifer and Brandon and stuff, and I went back and looked and, worked backwards and stuff. So when I figure out what those are, and I can give you an example, who do I, Jesse?
Forward to Andrea and then forward to us.
Yeah.
If it's that specific budget, Angie would be the one to get
Yeah.
the specific.
Angie, okay.
And you have a copy of the last, if I can print those off for you if you want, if you don't have the last 2 years' budgets for the library, I can print those off for you really quick so you can see the breakdown.
Oh, no, I haven't.
You know.
I've been working on it a
Okay.
long time, let me tell you. I thought I was ready, but.
We'll get it, it's not a problem, we'll get it
Okay.
worked, that's why you come in early, so that we can work it out.
Don't put that in the paper.
Work it out together.
Mike, or might want to identify, the difference between expenditures and county sport. A year ago was 60,000. It's projected to be 112 there. That's income coming from someplace else to service the expenditures. I have no idea where that income's coming from.
Okay, so tell me that again.
See, this is your expenditure line.
Uh-huh.
This is the county support line. We got a difference a year ago of 60, and probably didn't ask a question last year. We got a difference this year of 112. So there's 112 someplace added to the county support to pay for the expenditures. But I don't know where that income is coming from. And last year there was a difference of 60, and probably didn't ask a question last year.
Well, okay, because
Could there be
the
grants?
60,000,
Pardon?
we do,
Could there
but
be
that's,
grants?
Well, it could be grants,
but that.
book fees for late fees.
Yeah.
I mean, it could be a combination of everything.
Well, we
But
don't
in
have
order to
late
service the expenditures, there's gotta be 112 income. And that's the reason I was looking at the collection deal, that underneath the collection, materials and digital resources, exactly, to me, that's income, and it's exactly 112,000.
Yeah, she said
But
that was
it's
gonna
not
be an
income,
expense.
That's our.
But if it's an expense, it may or may not be inside the expenditures.
Right.
Okay, well, I'll talk to Angie then, and,
There's time, so don't.
yeah.
You'll be fine, you'll be fine.
All right, well, thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you, Mary.
$1040 Housing Authority, Rhonda Gilbert, you're next. Come on down. Even with my glasses, it's blurry.
Okay, and just want to kind of brief you on my budget too and everything. We have everything kind of lined out here. I am working on the next HPG grant, which is Housing Preservation Grant, just came out. So I'm hoping to get that again, as I've been getting the last few years and everything. So that's part of my grant that I'm hoping to get and everything. So, and I've kind of got that included in my special expenditures and stuff. Developers incentive, it kind of went down a little bit just because I feel like that we don't quite have as many developers. They're kind of doing their own thing. so I kinda cut down on that a little bit, along with demolition, because we're kinda going with more you guys waiving the fees and stuff and everything, so, but I can take that out. I'm been trying to get the moderate income housing grants also to get some, rental properties and things in the different towns and everything, so, after I get this one completed that we're doing in Leroy, hopefully I can go after the next one and everything, so.
Is that project gotta be completed before you can apply for another one?
You can apply, but they're not gonna give it to you,
They're not gonna give it to you until that was completed?
Yeah, 'cause, probably not from my department anyway, 'cause I wanna see that one completed first, so.
Well, they got the concrete all laid last week, so.
Yes, we were down there Friday and doing that and getting that going, so that's great. But yeah, the housing preservation, which is rehab and everything, it's gonna get a little tougher. I talked to the new people that have taken over that, and she said that, because they would usually call me and say, hey, would you take more money? Because we don't have enough people applying for it and stuff, and so she said, we're really trying to get other departments to do it. They actually called and talked to me about how we run our program, because they're very happy with that, so that's kind of nice, but then I'm like, oh, but my money's going. But I can only use so much too, I mean, in a year or 2 years, so.
And that's under the local rehab?
Yes, a local rehab and then the match money, Because I do have to match them to get any of them, as you know.
So to get 50, you gotta spend 150, is that what you're saying?
No, that would be, because I'm also gonna try, because this would be for next year. If I finish this one this year, I'm gonna try for the next one. So either put it towards rehab, or I'll put it towards the moderate income housing grant. So, and other ones, there's some other ones coming out too that, I'm pursuing right now. I go to, hopefully my board will allow me to go, and they always usually do in August, to a housing conference, and there's some new funding out there that I need some match funding for that, so.
The grant for the project there in Leroy was $250. There's not $250 in here?
No, I mean, I just kind of used, my.
So this is just what you hope for, and if you can exceed it,
yeah.
that much better.
Yes, so, And of course, I'm always available if you have any questions down the road. I know you guys are just getting started on them.
You don't have any projected changes in it?
I hope not.
I think a few years ago, you and I, we used to go round and around on this stuff, tearing houses and stuff down. But I really think that one of the best things we ever done is when we agreed that we would forgo landfill fees, and basically everyone was treated the same, and I don't think it has hurt these demolition or anything of old homes. In fact, I think it probably has helped some of them. I think that was probably one of the best things we did a few years ago. Finally made that agreement, that's what we're gonna do.
Right. There's definitely some more that could come down, but.
Yes. But you can't take them all down in one day.
No, you cannot, and,
Good work to be.
I know.
Anybody that stress that hard
I know.
enough, yes.
I know, and I do bring some hardship cases to you once in a while, not too many, but, I just have to feel pretty strongly about that, so.
No, any other questions?
Okay, well, thank you.
Thank you. Put it in my file.
And then we did have this from Wade also, it's a request for the church.
It's what?
Kale came in and brought this from Wade. If you want to make a motion, Wade's available by phone, or he'll be here at 1, but this is his updated request proposal for the church.
He did. I talked to him briefly this morning. He put all the changes that we had suggested last week in it. And so I basically just looked it over and.
You just printed that off, didn't you?
Yes, this is what he brought up, what
brought
Kale
it.
brought up from
Oh,
Wade.
Kale.
And so if you want to get
So
a hold of Wade,
one for each person?
Correct.
Is that what you're saying?
Yes, this is a 1-page. So Wade is available by phone, or he'll be in at 1 if you want him in person.
Basically, just the insertion of the dates that we're talking.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
What, do we wanna go ahead and make a motion on this?
If you want a motion, I'll make a motion to approve this request for proposal. And start the publication.
Tom made a motion to approve the request for proposal of Board of Commissioners, Coffee County will accept sealed bids proposal for demolition of vacant structure that was formerly a church, the building located at 600 Neosho Street, Burlington, Kansas.
I'll make the second.
Tom moved, Tim seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Aye. Motion passes.
So this can go in the paper this week, and then, Tim had a list of contacts
That yellow sheet.
to reach out to personally, that he gave to Andrea, so.
And here, Mark, do you?
Off to the races on that one.
Get it out of here.
Mm-hmm.
Get it going. Get it going.
Do you want the motion to, like, to sign? Oh, you don't need to sign, it's just.
No.
Yeah, there wasn't any signature on it. I even looked twice, 3 times. Bobby, we opened the bid, bidder 1, bidder 2.
Okay.
Bidder 2 included the insurance information, really did not include a start date. Bidder 2 included the insurance information and no start date. Bidder 1 didn't have any insurance information, but included a start date of today.
I did require in that RFP the bidders to provide all insurance before start of the project.
Okay.
So we did only have to. If the commission wouldn't mind, if you have just 1 minute, I'd like to talk back through this. The intent. 4 weeks ago, I notified the commissioners there was a contractor problem with one of the businesses under the RLF loan fund. And the commission, along with the county attorney at that time, advised we would be better off bidding it out. So I constructed the RFP, drew the floor plans, nailed down all the work, and we sent it out. I called a lot of different contractors, even out of area, and everybody's just I understand why the prices are high. Everybody's got all the work they want to do, and they're picking and selecting work right now. I think the commissioners are trying to get more organized, at least the contractors here in Coffee County, to have proper insurance, especially when county money is being used. That presents a dilemma to most of our contractors because they operate outside of having insurance, proper insurance. So,
that narrows the scope of bidders.
Yes, it does, and adds cost to it, but that's the right way, that's the only way to really protect us. and the client. This particular, depending on which direction the commissioners and the owner wish to go with the bidder, in awarding the bid, there would need to be a contractual arrangement prior to start of work with Lyon County Bank, because they have part of the funds that are to be dispersed to pay for this construction, along with additional county funds to some unknown amount. I hadn't reviewed the totals yet, but
one was 90, number two was 95.5.
96.5.
96.5, and the other one was 86 something.
86,596.
okay. The way, so Wade, is Wade here today?
He's inbound.
Until later.
Not till about 1 o'clock.
I would like to immediately get with Wade and the bank and go through what type of contractual arrangement they're talking about. But I know the banker has expressed to me that he wishes to, in the back of your, that RFP I gave you, there's a payment application that I'd like to start using. I've been going back and forth with Wade too on standardizing how we do stuff, but there's a payment application in there that the contractors need to use every time they request a draw. If they request a draw at all, if it's not lump sum. Most of your smaller work is lump sum, but larger work is going to require draws.
One of them did state what the draw needed. I think it was bidder number 2.
Okay, so bidder 1 is...
We hadn't announced anything.
Okay.
So we just bidder 1, bidder 2. That's all we've done.
Bidder 1 had a total bid of $72,000 with alternates of an additional $14,000 for a total of $86,000. Bidder 2 didn't include any alternates, which is fine. We aren't going to approve alternates, but has a total bid of $96,000 for a difference of about 20 grand.
So bidder 1 had the alternates. That's what brought it up to 86,000.
Yes, sir.
So actually, their bid was 72,000.
Correct.
Okay. I didn't catch y'all. I just looked at the bottom numbers when I looked at price tag.
Sounds like maybe Wade ought to review them before we make any decisions.
Of course. And I still need to answer a few more questions. And one of them is, I do know for a fact, I want to convert whatever we do, our original note, into a mortgage on this, in this instance. So I'll do that.
So there's some work to be done.
Yes, sir. First step is getting the contract between the bank and us situated. But very good. Thank you, Commissioners. I will come back to you Monday with
game plan.
Game plan.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you, Bobby.
Thank you.
You got anything else for us today?
No, sir.
If you think of it.
We're here. Be interested what the alternates was. Because you don't list one, really, do you? In your request? Or maybe
He's got 3 papers. Bidder number 1 is 3 pages behind the quote that break down. I'm assuming the alternates are included in there. Yep, on the last page. Miscellaneous alternates.
We don't have a copy of any of that.
Oh,
You would have it.
I'll pass this back around.
You know, we just come public information, we take it. and Wade can work it out, and then we can all go into executive session and discuss it.
Yes, sir.
If you pass that out, it'll come other information.
Yes, sir.
We wanna hit the county, well, we don't have any review road and bridge superintendent applications.
We don't have any.
Is there some?
Yeah, you have applications.
Oh, we do?
Where are they?
They're on top of the cover, I believe. Was today the date to open that?
I guess. It's on there for 11 o'clock.
It's on for 11. I wasn't sure today was the date, but
Are we going into executive session to review those, or?
We should.
Yes.
We could.
We
Yeah.
should.
We should.
Yeah, we should.
I don't have that down as the date. It probably is.
If today was the closing of it. I mean, if today was the due date for it.
Friday probably is the due date.
But our deal also said that we would not, we would not close until it was still open until.
Chose somebody.
Yeah, that's the way it's done.
Do we want to do that after lunch and we can turn around and hash this motion 2022-33? The, surveyor?
Yeah, I just didn't know if somebody had something they wanted to add to anything.
Something like a form that have been received by now. I think Angie was planning to deal with these and didn't get the chance because she got sick.
Oh,
But you wanna wait till after lunch?
Yeah, just set them,
Okay.
yeah, just hold on.
If you want, if you wanna keep them outside of this office then for
Okay.
now until.
I don't think I have anything to add, to ask on that.
My biggest thing here is having a gentleman let our guys at the county barn work under his license.
It's huge.
It's huge.
Yeah.
A lot of people might not realize how big that is. And has full confidence in the two people that are down in the county surveying is a pat on the back for those two individuals. And Wayne, as far as that goes, for molding two individuals to do this, or that can do this.
Hopefully it'll help pave the road to get them to license as well.
That's what I hope. You know, I did visit with Wayne a little bit. He wanted to visit this Monday, and I told him, I said it'd be very good to have the gentleman here with him this morning. I can't remember his name, Steve, and to present it the way he did, so people would understand the route that he thinks is probably the best route for us. And I have to.
So the two current employees are not PS?
Yeah, they're not like.
I assume that's.
Yeah.
So it sounds like that's a 4-year project to get that.
Way he explained it.
Way he explained it, it's 4 years.
Yeah, 1 year in this song school, and then three more after that. And I think they have to work under a licensed surveyor for 4 years or 3 years.
He said most of them are online courses, but
yeah.
I don't know how long the two we have there now have been employed there, but I'm just surprised for succession planning. Maybe that road hadn't already been established.
I think bad timing of the sickness that has been, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Has
Plugged everything
up, the way I kinda understood it from the two individuals, or at least one of the individuals. But, I'll read motion 2022-33, based upon the recommendation of the county engineer and approve as a form by the county attorney to authorize direct the chairman to sign agreement for land surveying services by Geotech Inc. for continued land surveying services for the highway department due to planned retirement of the county engineer / county surveyor.
I'll make the motion.
Tim moved.
I'll second.
Don second. Any discussion?
Well, it was brought up earlier, I thought Bob said something about maybe Wade looking over something, but I guess it's really making him look over it, so.
Well, yeah, there is probably the contract.
There's a contract
There's
in
a
the back.
contract for him.
That's all your concern is.
And I don't think that, every time somebody brings something in, we need to just jump right on it. Pass it, because we've done it so many times and then we've came back. And we know Wade tunes everything. I'm thinking we just probably need to let Wade look at it. We can take it up next week after Wade's approval of it. If it meets the specs, and I know Wade is not a commissioner, but he is the legal counsel for us.
It's a pretty straightforward little contract, just to.
It is pretty straightforward. It's probably very similar to the other 5 counties you're working with, but that's not saying it's totally right either.
That's the only place I'm at, but I just don't know. I mean, I would approve it, but I just wanna make sure everybody else is comfortable. I know, because Bob brought up the concern earlier about
I think
whether Wade wanted to look at, where did we want Wade to look at it or not. If you don't, if nobody's, I mean, like I say, it's pretty straightforward. I'd be glad to say.
It's a binding contract for the county.
Yeah.
It is true.
Yep.
So
And holding off 1 week, Mr. Chairman, I'll withdraw my second.
I will withdraw the motion.
It also says, and approval as form by the county attorney, so.
That's just for the motion as form.
Right, but the county attorney hasn't been involved in it,
Yeah.
I'm assuming.
And he'll be back at 1.
Table.
Yeah,
Motion's
he will
been-
be back, so yeah.
Motion's been,
He's here.
Second and motion's
Withdrawn.
been withdrawn.
Withdrawn, yeah. Motion's been withdrawn, waiting on the county attorney to review a contract. Or proposal.
I think that's good, because it is a contract for 1 year. Although it seems very simple and very
Looks
straightforward.
very simple, I'm sure the guy is very legit, and knows his
I'll
business,
let Wade know,
just
so I can let him know that.
Okay.
seems like we,
So I'm not speak, but get here. So this is the budget for the county extension. Do we want to go into executive
No.
session?
Andrea, are we gonna give you all these budget forms that we got, and you put them in books for us?
Angie's going to, once she gets everything in, I'll just be putting the books together, so she's
Okay.
taking everything in.
Okay, as long as you're,
Yep.
okay. Well, mine are all laying up here, so,
Okay.
okay.
We could probably review those applications in executive session for 30 minutes, couldn't we?
I don't see why not.
I think it'd be good to go in and review them and then come out and, take a little time before we maybe go back and discuss some of the things we wanted to ask them, questions. Or
Can
whatever.
I ask you a question real quick before you do that? On this extension office statement, were you aware there's just a question of what fund you want that remodeling paid for out of? And you believed it would be the general fund capital outlay for the remodel of the office up there? So she just wanted to make sure she paid it out of the
Yeah, I
fund.
thought it was improved capital improvements, was it? I thought we made the motion on that.
I know we did, but I don't remember exactly.
And that must be
what
the
fund.
invoice that I sent up to her.
I'm not sure we
then
put
from
the
the-
funds
Oh, it's
come
coming
out.
out capital improvements, because it was office repair.
Okay. You know, we've had some other expenses out there. Be good to pull it out of the same fund we pulled out of before.
I would, because it's a county building, I'd call it capital improvements. is what I'd call it.
That's exactly what you said, when we discussed it.
Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Motion to go into executive session for 25 minutes to review applications of county superintendent. Review applications.
I'll make the motion.
Tim moved.
Second.
No second. Any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
We will go in at 11:33 for 20 minutes.
25 minutes.
25 minutes, sorry, 25 minutes. Thank you. Yeah, need you to carry me.
And I told him. He said he'll be here around.
We'll give these to Wade, is that right?
Give
Or
Andrea to hold on to.
Okay.
For now, I'm just holding on to these.
Yeah, I'm just holding on to them, no action, no nothing.
With your life.
We just reviewed.
No pressure.
No pressure.
We just reviewed. I want to take a hour break, wait on Wade to get here. Come back.
What are we waiting on Wade
Is
for?
what, is Wade definitely gonna be here?
On track.
He said he'd be back a little after noon. And
We've
that
got-
Or we could do it on the phone.
Does that have to be done this week?
No.
I mean, can we just let Wade take a look at it and deal with it next week?
Yeah, we got signatures for stuff
You got a few
to do,
signatures.
or we can roll on through it.
All right,
Just do
That's all we got. We'll roll through it, and that way look at this.
as far as round table,
Yeah, we got round table here.
Do you want me to use that one if they're all the same, I don't have a true original, do you want to use that one as the original for
Oh, okay. Do we not need a signature there, or?
I think there was no place for Jeff to sign.
Yeah, I'm curious about that.
I know that's what I was looking at.
Because she's testing and he's approving,
Right, but
but
nobody.
there's, I wonder if that's just an oversight, but Wade's gonna be back, you think,
He
one or
said a little
something?
after noon.
If that's where this came from, then we might ask him. He intended for Jesse to have a place there.
Okay.
It looks like, that looks like specifically we need to do. Somebody should, because it looked like it could be done before one, if we did there.
Step out so if he's available, wait for him.
Continue here with the checks.
There's some reason you turned those over.
I'm sorry?
Is there some reason you turned those over?
No, sir. No.
Keep them keep them in order.
No, okay.
You know, just like our monthly deals, those checks, those vouchers are all numerical order, numbered in order. So I always keep everything in order.
Yes, sir.
That way.
try to.
Okay, I'm just curious.
Next,
I have to flip every one of them over.
I've always done that, Bob.
All right.
is when the guy from Washington DC wants to come speak with the commissioners.
Okay.
And it's probably, I mean, I'm just guessing an hour. There'll be two state senators there, and I asked Joe Serrano there, and you'll understand why in that meeting. They probably need to be downstairs in the big room.
In the big room.
When is this?
Next Monday.
What's the meeting for, Bobby?
It's,
Well, it's gonna be two senators and two representatives from Washington DC.
Yes, the Rotary Club's got, Jerry ran here July 7th, that was the Rotary Club. I got an email on that last week.
this meeting is specific to something that here in Coffee County they want to do.
isn't one a state senator?
Correct.
Yeah.
Will it be,
State senators.
will it be executive session?
Yes, sir.
Oh, well, I guess we can't very well say anything.
Right.
Well, that's what, do you want it in the downstairs where we used to hold the commission meetings? Or is that's really not secure enough?
That's not executive session.
We probably.
We can put some of those tables back that somebody took.
Yeah, we could. I know who took them.
Are they out
Yeah,
of the courthouse?
well, actually,
Sir?
Are they handy?
Out of the courthouse?
No, they're here.
Can they be put back, Andy?
Yeah, about
Would
2
that
minutes.
Give room for another 4 or 5
We can do that.
people.
I'd feel a lot more comfortable with the topic and everything
Okay.
in the room that we go to.
Okay. Fair enough. We'll do it that way.
Okay, thank you.
Oh, we got enough tables and chairs.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, you know, when Jessica gets these back, I don't know, does she keep these in numerical order, or numbered order?
I don't know.
I do not know. You know, Bob,
I
I've
try
always,
not to put
I've
my
always kept
fingers
everything in
over there,
number,
but
I
it
wanna
might
try to keep
cut
everything
off.
in number order.
I'll try to keep these straight.
Well, they told me a long time ago, it doesn't matter, we can just mess them up all we want.
And that may be,
Because we've never, by the time they get through,
I think she does try to keep them in order, but
there are no.
She knows that they
I always flip
go out of the building. You know, I told her way back in the day, I remember I would go through, and if there was one I had a question, I'd just pull it out and keep going. So
you know,
it always
they may even
messed
put
up
them in a file compared to where the funds are coming out of.
So last Thursday or Friday, I got a call from Terry that there was a mess up on the capers. There needed to be a correction. We'd already signed the stuff, but she needed the check, and I told her to use my stamp for the check, so we're gonna have another signature coming through on that.
Wade says he does not believe you need to sign that to request a proposal.
You got
He's
me
gonna
all
double check,
confused.
so he
Okay.
and he's not too far from here, so as soon as he gets in.
That's what that reissue is.
These checks here go with that big bunch.
Mark, do you do anything since you're not mayor anymore? Oh, that's right, you're the editor of the paper, aren't you?
No, I don't do anything.
You going to Country Stampede?
No, I am not.
No?
I haven't been there for a few years. Planning to go to Cornstalk, though.
That's what I was gonna ask. Pretty good crowd.
Yeah, well, they
Lineup.
haven't had it for like 3 years.
Got a pretty good lineup.
Last time I was gonna go, there was Whiskey Myers and Charlie Daniels, and then it rained 20 inches. And,
It was deadly lightning, is what they
Yeah,
called that.
so-
It actually did kill
I wanted to go to that one up in Montana. It was called Under the Big Sky Fest. I thought it'd be a good place to pull the fifth wheel up, you know, and get a campsite. The day after the tickets went
development.
on sale, everything was sold out.
What sound? I don't mind you.
What's that?
Guess I won't go to that.
Off down.
325. Deluxe hand golf towel. Are we hosting a golf tournament or, which I'm sure that ain't
We always donate.
Pardon?
We always donate.
We've always donated
Well,
$1,600.
that'd probably do with it, didn't you? Somebody gonna have a golf tournament during the circus and that stuff?
Who's it for?
It's economic development.
I don't know anything about that one. But I know we always sponsor, like the hospital one and,
Maybe they're just out,
Floyd Lewis.
maybe just out of town.
These things all coming to me, is that what they're doing?
Yes, you're stuck with them.
All those checks go with those, the first round of
Maybe they have
signage.
on hand and they're
Okay.
just short.
How come that wasn't 500 longer?
Well,
Which is.
that was the EMP purchase of the products, wasn't it? Wasn't that the grand total?
Yeah, we were funding 500.
No, that's for the grant, that's for the purchase stuff.
Purchase of the.
Oh,
That's for the purchase of the stuff,
purchase of the equipment,
of the equipment.
yes.
Did we?
Two different
Yeah,
checks.
two different deals.
Okay.
The other one was a grant.
Yeah, the other one was a grant, and then that's a purchase of the
It just
equipment.
came out close.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah.
There's the checks that go with that in.
Valuations jumped a lot last year.
Mm-hmm.
But several, but some of them did not.
Did we put a sign out on Highway 75?
No, that's
Is that just
the
an
one
annual?
on 75, I don't know about 75. We had two along I-35.
Yeah, I seen two along
I
I-35.
don't know about
This is
75.
$2,000 on trust.
I do not know, is that the one right out here on,
Crosses is all there, 75,
Oh, it's on
58
Crosses.
south. Yep. That's on 58,
Oh, I
75
don't know
south.
what sign would,
You have to pay for that brown sign out there that says Arnold's Greenhouse or not?
that's state.
Yeah.
Get one up on the airport.
No, this is south of town.
This is
there a-
south of 58 on
we-
75.
Is there one there?
I think there is.
This
Don't
is
go
a-
that way very often.
I don't ever
This
remember.
I think there is one there. Is it an annual $2,000 deal?
I've never seen one here that long time I've ever been here.
What's the sign?
Economic development.
What does it say?
Coffee County.
Access and signing, book billboard on US 75. I think there is a sign down there, I think.
What does it say?
I'll let you go ahead and.
What does it say?
You gotta read it.
Don, you keep them in neat order, right?
They are in order this time. But that's the bottom one,
Okay.
because this near is next to last. You should give Bobby a quick call and see if that's an annual lease or what it is.
And it's the sign at 50, on
See
75.
what sign it, find out what sign it is.
I think there is a Coffee County sign down. The Charleston boys own 3 3/4 mile there on the highway. They own everything except that first 80. And they got the next 4 miles.
You can tell where theirs is, cause there ain't any trees. Or reeds, or anything, green grass. Just read what it is.
Not quick enough for him.
He probably what?
She's already disappeared. It's $200 a year for a 10-year lease.
Does it say that?
Yeah, that's what I
Okay.
That's pretty daggone cheap.
$200 a year. This puts it into effect of 2032.
Well, it's not that deal.
No, I think. This yours or mine?
I think that's yours.
Okay.
I think I've got mine. got mine.
Didn't want to intrude on your papers there, but taking,
I think we're
taking
safe.
control of the piles here a little bit.
I got piles you can have.
Are you done signing down at that end now?
Yes, sir.
If I may be,
This one we just joined Kansas National Resource.
Yes.
I can butt in here.
$5,000.
Yes.
Mr. Chairman, and just throw that at you on behalf of the library. Lady was out in the hallway,
Thank you.
and you guys were away.
I'm glad you said something,
Yeah.
Bob. There's something I
She
need to
said-
add to my list.
She said, Jesse, that she marked on there the red, the things that are starred red are their personal services. The green stuff is contractual, the blue stuff is capital, and then she said everything else, their system just lump sums it in there as commodities. And so everything from their cleaning supplies to their pilgrim hats for the Thanksgiving program that are still up there showing 112,000 income to pay the difference. I don't know, I asked her about that and she said that, we didn't communicate that clearly. I'll go through that over the week. She said that, and that may just be that they're not showing it, I think they have a substantial capital reserve fund that they, if they have leftover every year, it could be, they do that
Every year ago, they had a slight
carryover.
carryover, so it may be carryover.
Yeah.
But it's not stated.
Okay. But that's, I told her she might do that, she might ask her chairperson there to
We
take a look at that. with
We
her.
get everything else up above identified, so.
But anyway, she said that she was able to just quickly determine that those were those things and wanted to thank you and answer on that. And she had to get out of here, so
Jerry Moran's gonna be there.
I got an email on that here last week.
Yeah, I think I seen something, invitation July 7th. I don't even know where I'm gonna be, I don't even know what day July 7th is on.
These checks went from some off that, let's go with all these files on Wednesday.
On Wednesday.
I can't confirm or deny on that.
Jessica will confirm and deny, and she's on top of it. Look forward to come back to lunch.
Okay, well, he wasn't anyway to get hold of him.
We identified it. I tried to catch you, you're too fast. She
Aw.
flashed.
I needed the exercise up in the stairs anyway. You got all the answers you need? Okay.
Got to reading the paragraph in the middle of it. It's a 10-year contract, $200 a year.
Okay.
And that goes through 2032, so,
Okay.
sorry I made you
Oh,
run.
no problem.
Yeah.
Good, we're behind.
Found out you're in shape.
3 months out.
Give me a minute.
We're out of shape.
I know those trips up, you think if one flight of stairs shouldn't be that big of a deal.
Money in it, we can't write a check.
No, there's not much.
You're doing this for a short fat guy.
On this Rotary meeting with, Rotary Club, you know where that meeting's held at?
The Baptist Church on 4th Street by the, Sonic, up that way.
Baptist Church.
Yep.
I'm gonna try to go to that. I'll let you know if you need to sign me up or something.
Second half supposed to be coming.
The rest of them just have to be taken.
What date
taken
is
out
that
of
on?
general, that's why we write a check
It's
out.
on Wednesday the 7th.
What time?
It says, dinner, so it must be noon. It's not very specific on time or location or anything.
It's Rotary, my question. I don't know, I mean, when it's gonna be 3 months out before completion.
I wonder, is it because that was
It is Thursday. It is Thursday. I looked at the 27th instead of the 7th.
Yeah.
It is on Thursdays.
That's just for the material.
remember changing it.
Andrea, did
No,
you
no,
hear
we did the
anything
total
from
project. That's why it
KNRC,
went so high.
like Friday or Thursday?
No, that's that, group that came here to speak.
Kansas Natural Resource
They
Coalition?
did, we got their invoice and it was submitted and taken care of, but I haven't heard anything outside of,
Like Tracy was gonna call you.
Well, wait a minute.
Got the jail meeting that night. Jail meeting that night's in Burlington.
Oh, well, we would, when was the other coming in?
I don't know. Did the rest of our upper money show up or do we know?
I can go see if Tanya has a current.
How much ARPA money do we have in our, how much ARPA money do we have right now, do you know?
I'm not sure that they had a specific figure either, and then the additional coming in later the month was supposed to be another 700 and
This month?
sometime this month.
Okay, well,
I guess my question is, we're getting ready to write a check for $497,000 and some change, with a balance in the account of
There's not quite that
$402,000.
much in it.
So that's what I want to make sure before you go writing the check.
I can go talk to Tanya really quick and see if she's got that.
I mean, or is that, is my question?
Okay.
I think Richard was in on that when we were talking about it, so, yeah, they might know, Richard or Tanya or somebody, because I think they were involved in that.
Well, that's CARES Act, is it not?
ARPA.
ARPA?
CARES is ARPA, they just never switched the name.
Okay, so 402 is what we
Yeah,
got.
Tom said this is far from down here.
Yeah.
It's only got 402.
So, yeah, I asked that question myself. And it is actually ARPA, the name just never got changed. But I think.
Oh, there we go. All right.
Everything else.
Well, hello, Wade.
Well,
Morning. Afternoon, whatever it is.
Got jet lag?
No. No. So you had a question about the document?
no, we just, really wasn't a question, we just thought the way you comb tooth everything, that we wanted you to take a look at it before we approved it, because we didn't want to come back and change it.
Oh. This document?
Yeah.
Yes. It says approval of the county attorney as to form, and I just wanted to make sure we had the county attorney's approval as to form.
Oh, you're talking about, this is the land surveyor.
Yeah.
Yeah, Wayne called me last week, we talked about this. This is the guy out of Emporia.
Yes, sir.
Yep, I didn't have any issue after talking with them last week.
And it's okay that, because it's considered professional services, we don't have to take bids.
Correct.
Okay.
It
That
sounded,
was basically
sounded
it.
thing, there wasn't much room to be taking bids anyway.
I mean, I think at some point in time, I mean, you have to have a stopgap so that it can be taken care of. And at least until then, this will fill that void.
Right.
Well, I mean, it's pretty much a single source, because the single source is allowing our guys to work underneath their license.
So,
As long as you approve of it.
yep, I looked at it.
Yes.
So I can sign one of them?
We need to vote on that.
Oh, yeah.
Go back
we need to
and
vote on-
remove and second and such.
Tim, make that happen.
Somebody's writing something down.
Mine.
Now, that thing there wasn't no place for the chairman's signature?
So this, where I'm signing it, where it's being attested, is to demonstrate that there was action taken by the board, and that's through the live in the meeting, so there should be a motion that goes with that.
I think Tim had one and then withdrew it, didn't he?
Yes, I had a motion, and then I withdrew it, it's right.
Well,
here.
that was on the geotag.
Yes.
There's not.
Yeah,
That's current balance, and the second check has not been received.
It was for geotech.
And
Yes.
she even checked pending and
Church
it's not.
proposal one was one that more than whether they needed to have a check.
Yeah, we're gonna need to hold that, because
Okay.
there's not that much.
Okay.
Because you said it's, the amount that they're requesting right now is over there.
Yes.
Yeah, Tanya said it'd be more.
So what did they say?
We're gonna have to hold that check.
Hold the check.
I got it.
Okay.
Because we can't transfer monies into it.
Good call, there's a check for this somewhere.
All right, you got it, right?
No, the check's over there.
Oh,
And then I've talked to Mr. Serrano, I know he was here. We dealt with some, turbulence last week. Walked through the turbulence, and I think things are set up for the 20th. Is that right?
The 20th, yes, that's
Serrano.
3 conversations going here on me, sorry.
Just, I know Mr. Serrano was here.
Yes, sir.
And I
Yeah.
talked to him, I talked to him this morning, talked to him last week. You were part of the meeting last week. We're on track. Everything's a go.
He said to revisit this on the 20th to meet that 45-day criteria timeline thing. And so that's what we're gonna do.
And Brad discovered that. He discovered the 45-day, 90-day type deal. So, Brad did very well bird dogging that one.
Yep. Okay. That's the election side that.
You have to hold on to that, Brad.
That's a red flag check.
Don't send it out.
Hang on to that.
Until you get, okay, yeah.
So you made a motion for this already?
No, I rescinded it.
No, we're thinking about 2 different things, aren't we? No.
No.
Okay.
That was that one.
The-
I rescinded my motion and Don did too. So we need to, on the survey, geotech, I'll make that motion again.
Right.
That's your motion 2022-33.
Yes.
But
Yeah.
what you have is a request for
I've got
proposal.
something different.
There's 3 conversations going on here at the same time.
Okay.
I'm
So
gonna- I'll sit back and wait.
I'll reread motion 2022-33. Based upon recommendation of the county engineer and approval as formed by the county attorney to authorize direct the chairman to sign agreement for land surveying services by Geotech Inc. for continued land surveying services for the highway department due to planned retirement of the county engineer / county supervisor.
I'll make the motion.
I'll second.
Tim moved, Don seconded. Any discussion? Hearing none, all in favor say aye.
Aye.
Motion passes.
What the confusion was, Wade, and apologize, we had a check come through for EMP Shields out of a certain account, there's not enough money in that account. We stopped it.
Gotcha.
Till that money, the rest of that ARPA money arrives, and then we can send the check, so.
Okay, so the one you
That
got
conversation was
mine,
going on as well as the other
they're
one,
the same.
just an explanation as to
Have
why it
one
got
that's different,
confusing.
but none of those are gonna be the original.
Understood.
So I don't think it matters.
On this day, this is the 6th day, right?
Yes.
That's that. That concludes our book.
Now you have everybody's undivided attention.
You'll have my other thing.
Yes, you can't have it all yet.
I'm getting caught up. All right.
So I was, as you probably can gather, I was out of town, and I do not and will not advertise when I'm gonna be out of town, because I know how criminal minds work, and I'm not giving somebody that opportunity. So I'm here, and I'll tell you, I was out of town. So the request for proposal, I think it speaks for itself. That's what would be published for 3 weeks, which is what's required. The one thing we'll have to deal with in the intervening time period, and I'm told this was the case when boilers were replaced, we're gonna need to have somebody come out and at least do an assessment for asbestos, because that will be something whoever does a bid will need to know ahead of time, because that could impact and affect what the cost would be. Now, is it an issue? I don't know, but I'm not an asbestos expert either. So, Bob, you may be the only one who was on the board when the boilers were dealt with. I was told that was somewhere around 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Is that something you recall? We may
I
have to
know
go
there was
back.
a question about it, yeah.
Okay.
I think they were supposedly lined with it or something. But
So it just impacts, how things get handled and treated. The second layer of that, and it goes back to the boilers as well. If the county is going to allow whoever does this bid to salvage the building parts, then I think there'll need to be a detailed list so that they can come in, and then the board can make a motion, because it's actually county property. I think salvage property, because they're not buying the building, the county still owns it, is my, and that was brought to my attention, and probably something that will have to be dealt with, if that makes sense.
We need a motion, notice to dispose of property.
If somebody's gonna if they're taking it and leaving it at the landfill, then that's one thing, but if they're gonna take it because it has value, then it's something that has value to the county. So, as is done with other, instances of county property, it doesn't, I mean, just a motion that this property doesn't have value to the county, and then they can take it.
Can we just do a?
Can we do it now?
Can we do a blanket over all the stuff?
I think we wait until we get bids. I mean, it's just something for you to be aware of right now, because we don't know what that is.
You may not even know what it is after you get a bid, because you'll get a net bid. Well, that includes saving some of the material. We may not even know what that is.
So
we may have to ask.
And that's why having just a list so we know, so if somebody walks off with it, I think that's what the expectation would be for any other county property. So I know it probably doesn't make sense, but.
So $50 value, then we're gonna have to advertise in the paper for every piece of it?
I don't think so, because it doesn't have any value to the county. It's a part of this process. I just wanted to bring it up. Well, we can deal with it. It's not gonna stop things from moving forward, but if it's something that's being salvaged, I just wanted to mention that.
I do have a question. So does the company have to be willing to want to salvage? They can't just come in as a demolition company, tear the whole thing down. They have to be willing to say what people want.
No, if they want to take something to salvage it, if it has value, they just want to come in and mow the whole thing down and take it out to the landfill and leave it, then they're not walking away with anything that has any value.
But if they throw it in the back of their truck and go back to wherever they're from, then if it doesn't go to the landfill, then they've got to.
I think we just have to make sure we're aware, because if it's being salvaged.
So windows or anything like that.
Bricks or anything.
I mean, I think it's a fair topic of conversation.
But we don't have to concern ourselves till the bids come in and we.
Correct.
Okay.
So this gets us moving forward. I mean, the pictures, I think, are pretty self-explanatory. I mean, they're more descriptive than, because we have the outside perimeter and some pictures from the inside to give whoever it is an idea of what they're bidding on, and then if there's something that's salvageable, then we can figure it out from there.
Because we approved what you wrote up, and
yep.
Andrea's gonna get in contact with, or it's gonna have it in the paper, and Andrea's gonna contact some of those from Tim's list, and.
So this is what's gonna go in the paper, that gets, and everything else will flow from here. It'll be on the county bid, whatever that
website,
that section in the county website is. And then if there's any changes, which, I mean, there is the latitude to make those changes, then that will also go there as well. So.
Moving forward on that one.
Make sense?
Yes,
Clear
sir.
as mud?
Clear as mud.
Yes, sir.
All right.
Yeah, he said something, but I didn't need to sign it.
You just need to make the motion.
We did.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all done.
Gotcha.
Geotech cabinets passed.
roundtable? Done?
I don't have anything. Several things that were sort of moving behind the scenes. Had the first town hall meeting, and maybe Don's already mentioned that, and Gridley. It went well. A lot of questions, a lot of answers.
Went real well from what I heard there Friday in the Zoom meeting from Chuck Johnson. I mean, like real well. So.
It went well. There was, I don't know how many citizens there were there, ended up probably being 15, 18, 15. A lot of questions adjourned about. The presentation was done about 8, the questions pushed it out to about 9. Good questions, good response on the answers.
Thursday is Leroy, right?
We're in Leroy Thursday, and anybody that's watching, we welcome everybody to, go to these town hall meetings, and it'll be at the Leroy Library at 6:30 Thursday night.
That's my office, they're flagging me down too. The meeting and the content and the questions are very useful because that discussion, the original discussion back in September, generated a lot of the talking points that had to be cleared and answered present day. And I think the most important component that we're dealing with right now is the fund balances for the county, why the county has as much as they have in reserves, and why it makes sense to finance and put the money down instead of just writing a check for the whole thing. And that's what some people say, well, if you have that much money in reserves,
Save the interest.
Save the interest. And those who have been a part of those discussions that I've talked to, it makes complete sense why the county has the reserve funds they have. So those who question the motives of each of you in doing what you're doing, I think they need to actually get the facts before they jump to conclusions. My opinion, because I think that's what's been done through a lot of this jail conversation. Now, in all fairness, there were probably 3 main questions, and at one point in time, 2 of those questions remained outstanding. So for those who question number 2 and number 3, they were right, but I think 1, 2, and 3 are covered. That's all I have.
Tim, you got anything?
Wade, on the time clock issue, how's that? Are we?
I think before the time clock was going to be addressed, the policy and procedure manual was going to be approved by the board. So there's been an email that's generated by Christina, and Christina wants to meet with me and with Angie to look at the current setup before bringing it. So we're coordinating dates on the calendar to make that happen, and that should happen within the next 30 days. And then from that point, then you get to figure out about the time clock. But I didn't think that was going to be live until probably August anyways, was at least what I remember.
All right. Thank you.
Now, the time clock versus entering time on the computer were 2 different things, and if you were going to go with both of them, I think they're both an important distinction. So if you want time clock as well, and, I know that's been a part of the discussion. My suggestion was to go live with entering time, but not the time clock to start, see what that looked like, and then later on if you want to go time clock. But if you want to go time clock too, I think both would be right for discussion at the same time. They're probably both part of the same program.
Good stuff. Tom, you got anything? You done, Tim?
Well,
Nope.
on the KNRC, Tracy, I believe, was gonna get a hold of Andrea, but we're gonna need to look at a contact person down the line.
That's easy.
Didn't take long to make that decision, did it?
So, when she does,
I
just
move
wanna
to
give you a
nominate
heads up.
Tim Johnson as a contact.
He volunteered.
I can do it.
But you might have a new seat, might not be sitting in that seat, but still being in the county and being a contact, and then you could come in and visit with us, even if you're not reelected. That may be a good thing to have in our toolbox as well.
Exactly.
All right.
So you want me to get a hold of her then?
Yeah, if you wanna give her my phone. Imagine she has my phone number, give her my email.
Everybody's got your phone number. Even the ones you don't want have your phone.
I agree with that.
Yeah, and your email. Tom, you got anything for us today?
No, like the church deal was on my plate, make sure we can move forward on it, and that's about it.
Bob?
I have nothing.
One of these days you're gonna have to bring something up. I'm good. Don's good.
Well, when we discuss things I think about get discussed.
I don't believe I have anything. I don't believe. I will be roading this week, so be in and out.
And my only other one was, the annex, but Tom covered that, so we are working on that. And I'm sure you've seen downstairs in the meeting room, the tables are getting fewer and fewer, and I had talked to Jesse about it. And then tables are expensive to order, and we don't always use all those folding tables down in the meeting rooms. Do you want me to just bring up some tables from, or do you want me to buy them, or for how seldom they're used? I can just pull up some.
Well, we visited with Bobby. We've got a pretty big meeting, important meeting next Monday. It's gonna be an executive session, probably an hour, that we're gonna wanna use that room that we're going to now. And Bobby said he could bring those tables back in for that meeting.
And that wasn't a bad idea, just bring some out of the basement too, but.
Or we could just, yeah, I mean, either way, it makes no difference.
But those tables are economic development tables, so if they keep needing them for something, I don't wanna have a couple folding and a couple of those. If it's their tables, let them have the tables, and I can bring up tables.
Bring up
from them.
tables from downstairs, as long as you're not moving them
Back.
all the
We
time.
can keep the chairs.
The chairs are theirs too. I can order more, I just say we don't always use all those down there, so I'm not.
Maybe we'll say you can have the tables, but not the chairs. See, we got that right.
That is really, I know he says picking on, but that really was
Just
built
county.
to be a conference room for anybody who needed it in this courthouse. And I know economic development happened to be in there at the time, but
So you want those tables back in that room?
I think for next week, just Bobby already agreed that he can bring them back next week, and then you can figure out something after that.
Okay.
But for next week, I think he agreed.
Okay. That's all I have.
Last chance, Wade, anything else?
The 20th, I just wanna make sure the date's right.
Go ahead.
Week of the 20th?
Go ahead and tear that page off if you want, so you don't have to stand there and hold it up.
Week of the 20th, I will be tough to get a hold of. I'll be in a week-long jury trial, so,
That's gonna be the day we're going, no, that's.
That'll be the day that we
Yeah.
okay the
Verbiage.
verbiage language.
so we'll have worked on that ahead of time.
And you'll be good with it.
I think we're good with it now, aren't we? It's just waiting for the 20th.
Timeline.
Timelines, correct?
What was your own point?
That's the verbiage for, the ballot.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to give you a heads up that that's coming down the pipe.
Okay.
So I'll be here,
Is
but
that here?
it'll be here. All the COVID restrictions have been removed in the courtroom because that was set up by the Chief Justice. So I don't know how many of the judge will try to seat in the courtroom at one time for jury selection, but it will be probably quite a few jurors, so we're gonna, during that time, you'll be able to test what it's gonna theoretically look like with the parking situation, because it will be probably a good example of stressing out local parking. And if you have another trial like that and you take away the parking where the new jail is gonna go, and if you knock down the church and put parking there, I think you're still gonna end up with a parking issue. Now, you can park down the street and people can walk, if that's what it comes down to, but just, it'll be a good test run, so you can see what it'll look like, because if you're not here early, good luck finding a parking spot.
I'll park down the street. Brad, you got anything for roundtable?
I think the only thing I had was just a question from Angie on that, on the extension thing, and you say you've already done. I think she said that she didn't see in the minutes that there was a motion in there.
Oh, through the
the capital improvements or capital outlay.
Capital improvements, wasn't it?
Yeah, that's why when I went back and checked the minutes, how it was gonna be paid wasn't in there, but that's why when we brought that up last week, it was out of capital.
Capital improvement.
She just wanted to make sure she's getting it out of the right fund. Which is out of the fund you wanted her to get it out of.
I'm sure it was.
Okay.
So do we need, you said there wasn't nothing in the motion, do we need to make a motion?
There was a motion.
There was a
to show
motion?
how, what fund was gonna.
I got you, okay. Okay. Well, if nobody has anything else, we'll adjourn at 12:47.
Oh, and here we, this was.
These are the figures. Sorry for
No, no.
hopping in the middle of your business this morning.
No, no,
In
I
January,
think it was
we're still-
important. You gotta-
Well, I just thought I might have to answer that question, and I thought, we have everything right here.